by Nick.
Or is it the Nick part that's nope?
Nope.
Gotcha.
That's all you're gonna get from me tonight.
Ah, but that right there wasn't just nope.
I only know how to say nope. That one sentence in this one explaining.
Really?
See. Well, Path of Exile is fun again.
Nice.
Last season was an absolute train wreck, and they finally gave up trying to make the game worse.
Bold strategy.
Yeah, it really felt unhinged how, like, out of touch they were for, like, 3 whole seasons almost.
Oof.
Because they basically implemented something like 3 seasons ago that was the season mechanic, and it worked fine as a season mechanic. No one really liked it, but it wasn't, like, it didn't ruin the game. It was an optional thing you could engage with if you wanted to. But then
Gotcha.
they made like the thing, like they made the shitty part of that seasonal mechanic a just base function on anything in the game, which made everything harder. And then instead of fixing that, they basically doubled down on it and made loot directly tied into that same mechanic in a way that made the game harder to engage with. And then they tripled down and made, like, basically, like, overhauled the entire loot system to revolve entirely around this mechanic. So that it was essentially just a lottery system where if you didn't find a 1 in a million, like, thing that would show up occasionally, you essentially couldn't actually progress or gear your character.
Yeah.
It was just really, really stupid. And finally, they've basically been like, we're giving up on Arch Nemesis and essentially removing it from the game and rebalancing a bunch of stuff and doing what we should have done forever ago. And that's, on top of that, the League mechanic this time is, like, essentially emulating roguelikes. It's kind of neat. You basically have these, like, room encounters that you'll find while you're doing stuff. And it doesn't, your health, like, technically if you die, obviously you still die, but, like, essentially they've added a mechanic where you have to actually, like, dodge stuff, because you have, like, resolve, I think they call it, while you're delving each floor further down into the dungeon. And anytime you get hit by anything, you lose some resolve. So essentially you actually have to, like, play it like a roguelike in the sense that you have very, you know, limited health pool, and you actually have to, like, dodge all the bullet hell and stuff. It's pretty neat.
Gotcha.
I'm not sure if you've ever actually played Path of Exile or not, but
Have not.
I'm assuming you've played maybe Diablo or some other
Yep.
adventure, whatever these games are called.
That I have.
Okay.
That's what I got this level.
Hello, Amanda.
wasn't-
Hello, Alex.
I was trying to remember what I got for level 5. I'm excited.
Oh yeah, I should double check.
Yes, you guys leveled up to level 5.
Pretty sure I did that.
Is it snowing in the table?
Yes.
How
Why?
dare you, you sick son of a bitch. We got like 15 inches this week. We don't need more imaginary snow.
I don't know, there's no snow here.
Well, la-dee-da.
La-di frickin' da.
Yeah, I think it was the first properly cold day.
Whoops.
In other news, on Tabletop Simulator, I found out the board that I use for some of the context images that I've been doing for some of these sessions supports MP4 format files.
So you can have
Ooh.
video.
So we can get
Video.
moving images.
Was that why there's snow?
No.
Oh, okay. Ringu World. Wee. Oh well, hey. You weren't kidding about it being a tish.
Yeah, managed to get in just a little late.
Look,
But-
5 minutes is enough to not be marked late at a job. It's enough to not be marked late here at the table.
Unless it's
Oh,
my
thank you.
job.
Well, see, I expected
Or
to
unless
be
you're a cook.
like half an hour late, but
Mm,
the buses happened to run very helpfully for me.
yeah, the joys of buses. It's like, well, I can't make guarantees.
I'm like, oh god, so I'm gonna miss this one. I have to wait an hour, but then a bus showed up half an hour after the first one, and I was like, oh, okay. Maybe we can do this.
Am I heard? Oh my god, I'm
Yep.
finally heard.
Oh, I mean, heard you before.
It stopped working, I thought, because I was looking at my thing and it wasn't
Huh.
showing up.
Weird.
Don't know
Yeah,
why.
I
It
thought I
switched
heard
over
you
to a
when I
different-
said hi to you a bit earlier.
Oh, if you didn't hear me anytime after that, then it stopped working.
Weird.
Yeah.
Recently, I've gotten into Chained Echoes, which is a game that I kickstarted in like 2017, and it finally released.
Is that
Mm,
a board game or
Video game.
Video game.
It's
Okay.
a video game. I backed it, and because it looked interesting, you know, and it was like back it for $5. I was like, you know what? With all of the complaints that Nick have had on video games on Kickstarter, $5 seems like an acceptable amount of loss if this never comes out.
Yeah, I've got like I think 6 games that seem like they've just been in development for the better part of a decade at this point.
Yeah.
Some of them, one of them is still, I think, technically going to be made. It's not going to be anything like it was originally supposed to be because essentially they sold it to another studio who has diligently continued development of it themselves. But yeah, I really feel like I'm not going to kickstart video games anymore, just because they just take too long.
yeah.
I think a lot, and almost all of them do not realize that. It seems like even now, after all this time, people are like, yeah, no, it doesn't take forever, or not forever, but lots of resources to make a video game.
Well, it was
You
like
basically need one or the other. You need an unbelievable amount of time with a small team, or a large team done quick. But at that point, you need a lot of money to fund that. So,
I mean, this feels like your bog standard RPG for what's that? RPG Maker.
okay.
But the art is actually pretty decent. The music is fucking phenomenal. Oh my god, I love the music. Like, even the combat music, which, you know, just repeats endlessly on cycle, feels good to listen to.
That's good.
You know, it doesn't detract or anything from that. And the combat mechanics are actually pretty decent. You heal up after every battle, so you're encouraged to use items because you don't need to use them outside of combat. You go back to full at the end of every combat. And so the combat mechanics are based around exploration of the world, gets you better equipment and better stat boosts. Leveling up is only done once per boss. So you can't just sit there and grind.
Alright. Jumping off of that, has everybody leveled up to level 5?
Yeah.
I check and make sure, but I believe I did.
Who wants to start with recap of what happened last time?
Lightning!
Yes, the ship got struck by lightning.
Sure
I
did.
can fix that problem. Well,
We managed to evade immediate engagement with the pirates that were bearing down on us through a variety of maneuvers. and strategery. But eventually we had to set down after the ship was struck by lightning, as Stan said.
I've got more spell slots. Oh my god, I've got second level spell slots.
Yeah, didn't you have second level spell slots, but you said you weren't gonna take any second level spells?
I didn't think I had second level spell slots.
Oh. Well, yeah, you're level 5.
Switch this over. Table is live. Stream is live. Okay, so yeah. After the ship had been struck by lightning and evaded the enemy ship, you guys sit down.
And we made a new dwarf friend after another one of our friends abandoned us.
So judgmental.
Not
True.
judging.
He did leave abruptly. How dare he?
Yeah.
And in a very bold spot, too. Out in the middle of a somewhat inhospitable mountain range.
Nah, he'll be fine. It's still his home continent.
My pet theory is that he didn't. He got kidnapped by pirates and we didn't notice.
Only the DM knows if that's true or not.
It's true, not even the player knows.
The player has no fucking clue.
Which is more likely, kidnapped by pirates or joined
ship
pirates
by pirates.
willingly?
I'm gonna hit you guys with a line from Princess Bride. Murdered by pirates is good.
I'm gonna go ahead and, as the original Obsidian, Cam, I'm gonna answer your question. Yes.
I will also say, as opposed to pirates, he could have also been abducted by the Fae.
Ooh.
Ritzy.
As I cannot dispute the DM on that, yes.
But how though?
It's the Fae.
Because they can just appear anywhere at any time.
He accidentally wandered into a ring of mushrooms, and boom,
Yep.
That'll do it.
off to the Feywild.
Yeah, accidentally, sure.
Does the captain keep a ring of mushrooms on the lower decks of the ship?
It's locked behind a safe door.
Well, he's gone. That's what
Yep.
happens.
Anybody else have anything they want to add?
We had begun repairs, and we are looking to make sure that me and Nalria have designs, machinations even,
Yeah.
to protect the ship against future lightning strikes.
Oh,
Nations.
Yes.
sorry, I will add to that later.
Oh, go right ahead.
I when I leveled up for level 5, I gained just for my subclass, I gained protection from energy.
Oh gosh.
I use that. I feel like it's because I got hit by lightning when the ship, like by an electrical discharge, when the ship got rocked.
Definitely reasonable.
Wake up with some inspiration. So that's a thing we can do later.
Goodness knows if I got struck by lightning, I would take measures to make sure I never got struck by lightning again.
Yeah.
In response to Elgavar's plan, the captain has given his permission with the caveat that it's allowed so long as the ship doesn't explode.
Is what we're trying to prevent.
You are, in essence, voiding the warranty.
How long's the warranty on this ship?
Oh, it expired ages ago. But they've got insurance.
What about roadside assistance? How about that?
Where
Yes,
we're
when the
going,
ship
there
is-
are no
When this
roads.
ship is on the roadside, then we have assistance. But whenever we're on-
Need roads.
which is funny considering the fact that I'm trying to basically pull something from Back to the Future going on here.
It's references inside references.
I
All
did
right.
swap out one spell.
Oh,
Yeah. I got rid of I subbed out jump for vortex warp.
vortex warp.
Jesus,
Wait.
That sounds metal as fuck.
Doesn't
Basically, for an action, I can take somebody within 90 feet and put them somewhere else within 90 feet. If they're
doesn't
in
Passenger also have that?
Yes, I do.
Oh my god.
That's
Boy,
why
that
my
sounds
work
like
stuff. I feel like we're working together to trade spells, and it's amazing.
that sounds like melee people will never be out of range. I like it.
Oh, what is this group becoming? Oh my goodness.
Dude, alright. Barbarian raging takes less damage. You know what? A monk that has less fall damage. Wink, wink. Plunging attacks. Okay.
Oh god.
Ooh, I
Teleport
like
them
Drops
up
from
into the
midair.
air.
Plunging. Welcome to Dark Souls. We have plunging attacks.
The only thing that I got for this level up was third level spells, so I got slow. So have fun with that, Steven.
I won't, but thank you.
fucking hate slow as a GM.
It is maybe my favorite spell in the whole game.
Now the question is Kimbrin able to stun people yet?
Oh yes, I have stunning strike and extra attack.
Oh good.
I have extra attack too.
I have extra attack now as well.
Ah yes, the man we've never seen fight yet.
Oh, sorry. You don't know what I do yet. You've just seen weapons sticking out of a backpack. That's all you've seen.
All right. Well, we will pick up from there. The Endurance has been making a number of repairs, dealing with the crewmen that were either injured or killed during the engagement. And after a couple of hours, the storm passes, and no sign of the Storm Warden has been reported. The captain gives the word for everybody to get back on board and shove off.
You shove off, buddy.
Igneous, the newest member of the crew, the first mate takes you around to introduce you to some of the members of Courier Team B, the group you will be assisting since their previous member went AWOL. So, introduce yourself, Igneous.
Well, hello. Just a bit of a humble smith here. I saw that y'all needed help and thought I'd assist you here. If by all of that you mean run down the character description again, I shall indeed. It's a stout-looking dwarf with some, I believe it was blue eyes and some blonde hair. He's not quite your typical Tolkien dwarf. He's got some little sun-darkened skin because he's from the surface instead of from the underground. So any dwarves you would have seen under in the Grand Market of Ulis might have been a little paler. He's from one of the tribes. So yeah, he spent some time outside, so he's got a little suntan to his skin. And that's why his hair is so bright and the blonde, because he's got that sun-soaked blonde hair.
I'm gonna give him a firm handshake and draw him in close and go, "It's okay, Bjorn. We know."
I don't,
That was just between me and him. That's...
name's Igneous.
Yeah, Igneous, right.
Wink.
I don't wink. I just smile and thumbs up and nod surreptitiously.
Who's Bjorn?
I'm just gonna nod. Just gonna nod and smile and go back to
Like the
mapping
Jack
out the card.
Nicholson smile nod.
Yeah.
Just the very broad, like, yeah.
Gonna shuffle away from you.
That's okay. It's okay, Bjorn. We know. We all know.
Passenger who at no point ever actually clocked that there was anything shady about Bjorn. Just kind of like, okay, whatever. Welcome to the team. Yeah, try not to wander off on your own, I guess.
I am a little eccentric. Just FYI, this fits.
Oh yeah.
I don't. Yeah, I'll wait for the full tour. I guess I'm not really sure where I'm going yet on the ship.
Well, we'll get you set up with a bunk, and any cargo or luggage you got, you can set off to the side. First mate says.
Oh yeah, I got he thumbs over to his backpack, which it's a mighty pack. It is. There is a lot of stuff in this pack. He is a craftsman, and he has crafting things.
Did your tribe have a name?
No.
In that case, I've got one if you want.
Howdy, have I not come up with that yet?
This is revenge for all the times we asked for NPC names.
we were Valley number 4.
Good old Valley number 4.
We'll say you're from the Shatterbark tribe, named for a very rugged type of tree that lives in these mountains.
That fits and is acceptable.
All right. But the Endurance has lifted off and is once again sailing through the mountains as you guys acquaint yourselves. The storm clouds are lightening up. There's still a faint drizzle as the ship passes along. And the rest of the day passes uneventfully, if still a little tense, as there's extra lookouts on deck, making sure there's no other run-ins with the Storm Warden. But the end of the day arrives, and you're still over the Ulus mountain range as everybody turns in to sleep. After this, there will be a few days of downtime if anybody would like to do anything specific. Otherwise, we can fast forward.
Generally, just if Igneous is a crafter, share my plans with him and see if what we're planning appears feasible. Is this something that you could make given a forge, or is this something we'd probably want to contract out?
Forge, you say?
Alex, roll me an intelligence check.
Yeah. Oh my god, I didn't even set up my dice roller. What kind of a D&D player am I?
How dare you?
How dare?
I'm in the chair, and my roller was still sitting over on the side. An intelligence check?
Yeah.
Boy, this wouldn't happen to me with advantage because this is my shtick, huh? That's
no, it's
3.
just a... Oof. Mainly, why I'm having you roll that is because this is for a lightning rod and introducing the lightning rod into an airship. Neither of which are things your tribe has ever really needed to deal with.
Yep, nope, that's an appropriate 3 then.
So, that's why I had that. So you're unsure. It's not technology you've needed to deal with, but you know that lightning rods in general are long spikes of metal, and you know how to make a long spike of metal.
I can maybe make you a lightning rod. I don't know if this is a good idea, but I could help with making it.
Oh, it's a wonderful idea. I mean, this is going to. Well, obviously, we're not going to get it and install it until we have everything up and working and tested at least once or twice. But this is going to protect us from the damage that we took that caused us to set down in the first place. In the future.
Yeah, okay. I see where you're going. Yeah, that sounds like a good idea. You know, you can never have too much protection.
Nalri is off to the side, just grinning and nodding her head quickly with a thumbs up, like, yeah, it's a good idea.
I mean, if I learn more about these ships too, I could, I don't know, possibilities are endless. I'm good with a forge, but if I learn some more techniques and someone's here to guide me, I could make some pretty nifty stuff for the ship, maybe.
Alright, anybody else doing anything in particular?
Getting acquainted with, is there a ship with a shipboard forge, like a forge on ship?
Not really. There's some anvils and stuff for doing like cold forging, but in general, fire plus ships don't really mix too much.
Yeah, I was making sure.
Why?
But there are setups so that way when the ship is set down, they could set up a forging station.
I will acquaint myself with whoever is in charge of the cold forge and whoever kind of is in charge of forging when on the ground and access to hot forge is available.
You ask around about it a bit, and one of the sailors sort of just thinks on it and then sort of points sidelong towards Elgavar. Him?
Oh.
He's the only one that's ever really been doing stuff with it.
Well, in that case, I guess I'll get to know my teammate better, huh?
Yes,
And
in
then
general,
we can just kind of discuss what kind of ideas you have further if you want, or
Yeah, we don't
Do
need to
like
do that in
background. Yeah, background chatter.
it's stuff you guys are doing as the days are passing.
Yeah.
I don't expect every day of this voyage to be played out.
no.
Yeah, no, I wasn't sure if there was like another NPC I should actually be introduced to. That
From what
nobody
you
has really been
gather,
introduced to.
asking around, is nobody on the ship in general has really bothered with it. They usually just buy stuff in port. So the forge has sort of sat unused up until Elgavar joined.
Gotcha. Well, yeah. If there's any like small tools or anything that need fixing, anything like that, I'll whatever I can do with the cold forge.
At that,
I
the
as
sailor
not
then
familiar
points
with that,
towards passenger. They already went around and mended all our stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
That said,
I guess
our ship's actually sitting in pretty good condition after you guys joined.
I'm a little hesitant to see what it was like beforehand.
It was an old ship. He nods and then walks off.
Well, you all seem like a capable bunch. I'm sure we'll get along just fine.
Bit later in the day, the first mate comes up to you and he's like, the quartermaster wanted to chat with you. Ignis, right? He's got a couple of things you could take a look at for your forge.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's show me the way.
He points you towards the lower decks, where you'll find the quartermaster. And he's like, we need some new cleats for the ship. A number of ours tore free during the storm. So, take some of these metal rods over to the cold forge, bend them into this shape. He holds up one of the existing spare cleats. We need about 10 of these.
All right. Consider it done.
He hands you the metal rods and sends you on your way. So I'll have you roll smithing tool check for doing that over the rest of the day.
What even is that? Is that just like
I'd say
plus
probably
proficient
Dex plus proficiency.
Yeah.
Or
dex?
strength.
Okay.
Dex or strength plus proficiency.
I'd allow strength, probably.
I will accept that. Ooh, that's a 21.
Nice. You have no problem hammering out some of the metal rods to form cleats. Anybody else? Kimbrin, Marston?
I don't have
I-
anything specific during downtime. No.
I'd check in with Algavar, see if he's made any progress on the sphere.
Let's see.
Where would I find him?
Down in his usual area, I'd imagine, since he was working on the lightning
Oh, I
rod plans.
Oh yeah, I suppose they're kind of busy on the ship right now. But yeah, I'd stop by his little workshop area, wherever that got set up.
Gareth, I have a new theory.
And that would be?
Igneous is not Bjorn.
Why do you think he was?
It seemed pretty sus. Bjorn disappears and we suddenly get somebody new on ship right away. Given the fact that Bjorn was in trouble with the regional area. And we know he can change form.
I agree, the timing's suspicious, but I look at it as a there's no angle sort of situation.
Yeah. Also,
Sure, he
he's
could.
far too strong.
Have you been working with him?
I've been watching him work the cold forge.
All right. Well, if
So,
it rests your mind at ease, I suppose that's a good observation.
I don't know who he is, but he's not Bjorn.
If I had to guess, I'd imagine his name was Ignis. And he happened to be a wandering fella in the woods that heard an airship land down about where he was living and decided that the call of adventure was too loud to ignore.
Yeah, I haven't made and I'll explain. I haven't made any major breakthroughs, since the last one while we were in port.
Fair enough. I know we've been a bit busy over the last few days.
It is definitely on my list of things to continue looking into, though.
Do you feel confident you can crack it?
It'll take time, but yeah.
That's all I needed to hear.
It almost feels like the orb is fighting me, though. Does that make sense?
Honestly, I'm not very magically inclined, but it wouldn't surprise me if some sort of enchanted thing like that had, I don't know, a mind of its own or some level of countermeasures.
Yeah. Countermeasures. You sure I can't just smash it, right?
Yeah, I believe that would be bad.
Okay. Fine.
It might damage. Honestly, the sphere itself might be part of what's inside to some extent. Who knows? And on a side note, assuming we can get it open and liberate the contents with the sphere intact, we might be able to sell the sphere to Pianese.
I just figured I could figure out how the sphere works, and then we could sell the design to Piranesi.
I like your thinking. See, this is why I came to you, Elgavar. I knew I could trust you to think profitably. Let's kind of pat you on the shoulder and walk out of the room. Carry on.
I do so.
All right. Anything from passenger?
I don't think that Passenger is doing anything particular beyond. Oh my God, Waffles, stop!
Wah.
I love him so much. He is so needy right now. Oh my God. Anyway, I don't think Passenger is doing much out of the ordinary. They probably suggested being able to like concentrate and hold some of their spells in physical form to be like released at a later date. But after some experimentation, they don't think that we have the sufficient power to do that at this time.
Oh?
I mean, if you want to protect the ship from lightning, the way I'm figuring out how to protect myself from lightning, the way to do that is with a ward.
That's fair. Isn't that a thing artificers get at some point? Spell storing device?
Yes, it is.
Yes. Yes, it is.
Oh,
Although
there you go.
I don't know if armorer gets that. I think that's.
Yeah,
I sort of
there's
figured it
also,
was just like a general artificer thing, but that said, it's a magic class, therefore I don't know it.
and wizards and I don't remember who all else, but there are people who have like the spell ward, but it is much higher level than what I thought it was.
Hmm.
Remember, I only do get up to 6th level spells, so.
It's okay, I get up to 9. I'll take it.
All right. Well, the next leg of the voyage passes fairly uneventfully. Ulyss, the jagged mountain range continues to stretch on below you for a couple days more. But finally, before the week is out, passenger Nalria ushers you up top deck. Is like, you won't want to miss this.
Oh, alright.
After about 20 minutes, you see the next body of water approaching as the edge of the continent gets closer, and finally the Endurance passes over the Glittering Sea, which is the body of water stretching between Ulyss, Alcria, and Osifix. And you can see from the elevated position of the airship, almost, it's like exposed metal along the sea floor that reflects sunlight. And through the water and the waves, it looks like it's shimmering and glistening and glittering. Nalria is standing out, and she's like, I always love passing over the glittering sea for the first time on a voyage.
It is very pretty.
But it's around this point the ship is also very definitely sailing towards the ring wall that is off to your port side, and the towering metal structure, as you guys draw closer over the next few days, continues to rise higher and higher above you. And about 4 more days pass as you're just sailing over open water. Elgavar, you get called up to the wheel of the ship by the first mate.
Come on up.
Right. Alright, we're gonna have you set us down so you take over the wheel.
All right, sir. I'll take command. Do we have a specific dock we're going for?
You can see out on the horizon past the front of the ship, there is the edge of the wall is getting closer. You're about an hour out at this point, and you see what almost looks like a hole in the sea with a ring around it. And the first mate directs you towards the upspin side of the ring.
All right.
We're going to be setting down right near the edge of it. You'll see the docks there.
Well, no, I was given how anal retentive the dwarves were. Was there a specific dock we were supposed to be at?
Oh, we're not setting down at the dwarven docks. This is the human dock.
Well, yes, not from around here.
That's
I
fine.
wasn't sure if every race was like that or not.
So, the upspin side.
Any open spot on the upspin side. Got it.
Yes. It doesn't get a lot of traffic, so just pick one.
Very good, sir.
With that, the ship begins to descend down, and as the anomaly grows larger in your vision, you can see it's settled right up against the edge of the ring. The ring wall stretching about a number of miles just straight up into the air above you. It is almost enough to hurt your neck looking all the way up. And this opening in the water, it's several miles across. And as you draw closer, you can see structures built right along the edge of the waterfall falling into the opening. And a number of docks also set up. Sure enough, there's no other ships currently docked.
All right. Take it in.
Around the same time, the first mate calls for courier teams A and B, topside. And once everybody's gathered, makes the announcement. Alright, we are here to drop off some supplies for Abyss Station. Head down below. The quartermaster will set you up with the supplies you will take into the facility. Courier Team B, I believe this is your first time seeing this station, so feel free to ask questions, but they get a little leery about touching stuff, so mind your manners. With that, the quartermaster gets every team set up with their supplies to take into the station. Kimbrin, you would be vaguely familiar with this area. You would have never been here, probably, but it is one of the few builder structures actually being serviced actively. From the outside, it looks fairly mundane, like there's a number of towers and bridges built up along it, but you know that the station was built very early on and is one of the original structures used on the ring.
Fascinating.
And with that, the ship sets down, the gangplank is lowered, and you are all able to start moving the supplies.
Aside from its age, are there any sort of facts, lore, or trivia about this station that I might know?
Roll me a history check.
$12.
12. With a 12, you would know that this station was used for circulation and artificially creating ocean currents, where it takes in water and then circulates it around the ring in various spots to help create the currents. And it was a joint collaboration among all of the community nations, the biggest ones being the humans, elves, and dwarves, to build observation stations to make sure that the facility continues to run properly.
That makes sense.
Bits of lore, there's old stories that say if you were to fall in, you would find yourself in another dimension, but
Another dimension.
most people just say that other dimension is the afterlife because you're probably not getting out of it alive.
Hey guys, you want to jump? Guys,
Kushibalba?
And that's how you guys find your way to the final boss fight on accident.
Sweet. Fucking speedrun
Tyranny is
strats.
not down there. Come on.
Alright, we're gonna wall hack this bitch.
As you guys leave the Endurance and make your way up towards the first tower, you hear the almost not quite deafening, but omnipresent white noise of just this miles-long massive waterfall. You don't hear the crashing of the water at the bottom, so it's not loud, but it's a lot of moving water. As you guys leave the ship, you see up by the tower a number of individuals standing guard that wave you on up towards the structure.
Move on up.
You're greeted by a couple of human guards. They're wearing the king's colors from back in the city of Elias. The white and blue trim. They nod at you. Welcome to Abyss Station. We were looking forward to the supplies. You're a little delayed. Any issues?
Pirates.
Nasty business.
Also a lightning storm.
Also nasty business.
Got the real 2-for-1.
Well, good to see you at least made it out in one piece, the guard says as he cranes his neck and looks at some of the scorched portions of the Endurance. Well, head on inside. It'll be a long hallway, and then there's a lift that'll take you down into one of the lower structures. I'll follow some of the guards down there, and they'll show you where to put the supplies. I trust that somebody on your ship also already said, try to avoid touching anything you should not touch.
Elgavar looks completely dejected by that, you know. He understands. He knows he's not going to do it. But just the reminder of don't touch is defeating.
The guards open the heavy doors of the structure. Inside, it still looks fairly mundane, but as you get deeper into it, you notice the structure changes from carved stone blocks and heraldry to smoother material. The walls are metallic, the floor is similar, and the lights are electrical. And within the structure there is two doors that look as though they slide apart, and some buttons on the wall. Courier Team A waits for you to arrive, and they're like, would one of you like to do the honors?
Gesturing to what, or nodding to what when they say that?
The button by the sliding doors.
I nudge Elgavar, knowing that he wants to touch it.
I run up and press it.
It
Gumdrops.
makes a satisfying click, and the circle around the button lights up with a indication that it has in fact been pushed. And after a few moments, the doors slide open. The lift is sterile and metallic, similar to the rest of the similar to the hallways you had passed through before. Courier Team A moves in first, and there's still enough room for you guys to come in.
We go in.
There's only a couple buttons that are available to push. There is a larger selection, but they are locked with what look like keyholes. And one of the men from Courier Team A pushes one of the lower buttons that is unlocked. The doors close, and the lift ascends. When it opens again, you're in pure metallic hallway, and a couple of signs saying storage. A man in a lab coat comes out and meets you. Oh good, the supplies made it. Starting to think we were going to have to eat our shoes. Storage room is this way.
Following him.
Leads you along one of the side hallways, and you see there are some windows set up down this way. And you see falling water passing along. But if you were to look outside, you would see the edge of the waterfall is about 200 feet above you, and you have a nice view down into the churning mists of the hole in the ocean. So, I hear you all were, troubled by the storm that passed through a few days ago.
And the pirate within it.
Unfortunately, that's been more of an issue as of recent. We've had to step up our security, but thankfully nobody's seemed to want to trouble our stations. Were any of the supplies damaged that you know about? The courier team A says, nothing to report. Well, that's good. He looks over his shoulder at you all of Team B. I don't recognize you lot. You're new. Just signed on for this voyage?
And perhaps others.
Ah, that's good to hear. Once you're done dropping off the supplies, if you'd like, I'd be happy to give you a tour.
Be delighted.
He nods as he continues down the hall. My name is Samuel. I'm one of the head technicians here.
What sort of technical work do you do?
Mostly mechanical monitoring, making sure nothing is out of the ordinary. That said, it's a very boring job, speaking honestly. Nothing in the facility has changed in the past 1,000 years, so mostly just making sure that the status quo remains. But, considering the vital importance of this facility, it is agreed upon many years ago that we need to ensure that nothing ill befalls it.
Remind me again what this facility does?
Water circulation.
Right.
Making sure the oceans do not become stagnant.
The builders really did think of everything.
Oh, yes. So much so, this facility practically monitors itself. There's more guards here than there are technicians. Part of why I'm giving you the, tour and a show of where to drop off the supplies, despite being, quote-unquote, lead technician.
Did they leave you with any sort of manual, or how do you know what to fix if things go wrong? If things haven't gone wrong in 1,000 years?
There's a manual, but it's behind one of those in case of emergencies sort of locks. We do have an executive technician who goes between a number of facilities who is versed on how to deal with hiccups. I can manage. I'm pretty handy with tinkering myself, but I've only ever had to fix a few lights here and there. There was this one time an alert was going off, and despite all the checking out that we could do, nothing was wrong. It was just sending out an alert for no reason.
Those are the worst.
So
Build
finally,
alerts, so that way they warn you when things are wrong, but if they warn you when things are wrong when everything's right...
yeah, it's almost like we need an alert for the alert.
So when an emergency happens, you break the glass, and then you spend time reading the manual when there's an emergency happening?
Look, these facilities are treated with a certain amount of reverence in a number of sections of this ring. If we were to just go tinkering with it whenever we felt like, some people would get a little moody. They want it to have this air of mystique. But should something go wrong, they're like, oh, fix it. And it's like, we don't know how.
I feel like knowing how to fix it is important. I mean,
And thus, the executive technician, who's treated almost like a priest in certain circles.
Oh.
You guys might notice, but you can see Elgavar wince and glower a little bit.
Kimbrin is keeping his face completely neutral, considering this is equivalent to a holy site for him.
How would
No, I'm
Kimbrin
not saying
view
anything. It's just-
technicians for these facilities?
Sorry, what did you say?
How would Kimbrin view technicians assigned to work these facilities?
As a group of individuals, probably pretty close to holy people. Yeah. Like as a caste, basically, but like individually, like it's entirely dependent on their degree of reverence for the space and the meaning of it.
All right. After a little, go ahead.
Yeah, because I'm sensing a little bit of almost bitterness from this individual. To be honest, Kimbrin isn't a huge fan of that as an attitude.
If you want, feel free to roll me an insight check.
I'd love to. $16.
16. You can glean that as this technician is talking, he definitely wishes he could actually get into the machinery and properly learn how it works.
Yeah.
Almost like he wants to be the executive technician who's allowed to tinker with the machines without it being an emergency.
Yeah. And you know what? That is a perfectly understandable position to have. If anything, it's a position that Kimbrin shares. Although from a different direction, I think. Kimbrin desires to be as close to the builders as possible. It's less about the technology and more about the people.
After a little bit more walking, the technician comes up to some heavy doors, pushes another button. They slide open with a satisfyingly subtle hiss, and leads you into an airlock. Once everybody's in, pushes another button, and the next set of doors opens, and it's a nice refrigerated room. The temperature drops about 70 degrees very quickly to like just about freezing. He's like, alright, you can take the supplies, set them off over in the corner. We'll have somebody along to unpack them shortly. Everybody's stepping in. I want you to roll me dexterity saving throws. Let's see. Igneous, you have dangerous sense, right?
Yeah.
Your barb, you get advantage.
Yeah. Yeah. Just about to ask if this is applicable.
You get to see it. It's something you see.
15.
18.
14.
Marston, you said 10?
Yep.
I
Alright,
said dex save 18.
18. Alright, stepping in, everybody managed to keep their footing a little bit, or successfully keep their footing. Marston, though, as you step in, your foot finds a little bit of ice, and you slip forward doing not quite the full splits, but you end up catching yourself without taking any damage.
You okay there, Marston?
Kind of give an A-OK symbol and don't say anything. Stand back up with dignity.
The storage room has a number of vents along the side that are pumping chilled air into the room. The walls are lined with shelves that are neatly organized. And there is a nice big space near the back that it's nice and open where the technician is set to drop the crates.
Hey Moose, is this room also powered by alchemist ice?
No, it's not. This is proper refrigeration, not goblin tech.
Different campaign, sorry.
And there's no ice weirds in here that you can see.
Oh, tragedy.
Indeed.
The technician's looking over the shipping manifest as you're setting everything down. You see some of the supplies along the side. It's more or less just perishable foods, a number of medical supplies, and various snacks to keep the staff fed and entertained as they stare at waterfalls all day, every day. Alright. Once that's all set down, anybody who's interested in the tour may follow me, otherwise I would ask you return to lift and your ship.
I am definitely in for the tour.
Yeah, I'll tag along.
I'd love nothing more.
Kind of see everyone agreeing. I just shrug. Take a step to the back of the line.
The technician gives a sort of sidelong look at the dwarf barbarian, like, are you interested in a technology tour?
I have no idea what most of this is, but it could be fun.
The other courier team sort of waves, and it's like, we've taken this tour before, but have fun. From there, the technician leads you off down a different hallway, into the facility a bit more, and then down a flight of stairs. So, starting off, this facility has been operational for about, I think the official time frame was about 3,000 years. It's one of the first structures built up just to make sure the waters were flowing the way they needed to. The nations didn't come into the picture until about, 1,600 years ago. It was a joint venture. 3 main facilities, the human facility, elven facility, dwarven facility, each independent but still sharing its information just to make sure nobody's hiding anything that needs to be known. And we even have a couple of smaller facilities for some of the lesser represented nations. There's a halfling station, an orc station. There's even a lizard folk station. I've been there once. That was interesting. Good food. He opens up a sliding door off to the side, gestures in. This is one of our labs. We are allowed to run studies using some of the scientific facilities that this place offers. For the most part, it's medical, making sure we have a proper understanding of anatomy, well-being, and stuff like that. Any attempts we've made to negotiate for technological advancement studies have been met with reticence. We were able to get lights figured out, thankfully, so those have been popping up more and more in certain aspects around the ring. Any questions at this point? Otherwise, I can show you one of our observation facilities. Get you a good look at the abyss.
Would we know what he meant by, like, lights popping up? in places?
Yeah. You would have seen personally and in this facility alone, but in some of the more wealthy districts, electric lights have been becoming more popular.
Okay.
As opposed to oil lamps and fuel fire.
Yeah.
So,
That would've been-
yeah, like palaces, wealthy manors, stuff like that. But it requires getting technicians in, running wires, and a lot of income sink into the project. So it's not exactly mainstream. Kimbrin, along a number of the walls down on this level, you notice two sets of signs along each doorway, where in common it's saying, you know, what the room's for, like Lab 1, general storage, supplies, yada yada, but beneath the panels written in common, there is a metallic plaque that is instead written in a language you don't recognize, except for a number of scriptures that you had read, which you would know would be the language of the builders.
Damn. Are there any words or symbols that I, like, would recognize a degree of meaning in?
For your specific sect, the more high-profile one that you would recognize would be when the technician gets to main observatory, where the builder observatories were seen as ways of looking out into the heavens.
As we're walking through the facility, I'm just taking mental notes about what I see and seeing if any of it compares to the orb. I'm trying to date the orb.
All right.
Smart.
You notice a couple symbols that mark some of the rings on the orb. Look similar to some of the symbols that make up the builder language.
Okay, so orb is really freaking old.
He's quite old.
Okay.
Or somebody made it to look like a builder object.
Also true. The technician gets to the main observatory. It's marked with a couple of wide sliding doors and a guard standing out front. The guard looks bored, but he perks up and stands at attention as you guys are walking past, just so he looks official. Technician pushes the button, pushes in a code on a keypad, and the doors slide open. Inside are a number of lit up panels along the wall, a couple of desks lining the room, and they're all set up in a sort of hemisphere looking out over a glass, well, it looks like glass, observatory dome that stretches out over the waterfall abyss. And this right here is the main observatory. All the lit up panels along the wall are bits of builder tech. They show a number of readings about how much water is passing through the facility and around to each different portions of the ring. It's all in builder speak, so we have needed to learn to decipher it and read it ourselves. And we are able to parse out to ensure the correct amounts of water are going to where there needs to be some. Making sure everybody's getting enough water, nothing is clogged or not moving. It also shows us salt levels and stagnation percentage.
So you know at least a little bit of the builder language then?
Yes. It was, not exactly the most exciting course I took in college, but I still passed it with good grades.
I'm gonna show, at least, without trying to, like, show, like, did my drawings of the orb and whatnot, open up my sketchbook to, you know, some of the different symbols that I've recognized, and now that I know it's builder language, you know, if you can translate any of this stuff.
He takes the sketchbook, looks it over with a cocked eyebrow, looking somewhat confused. Where'd you find this stuff?
Oh, some ruins in a cave in was that Ossifix? No, that wasn't Ossifix. That was
Ulyss. It was one of the upspin islands.
Yeah.
That you were delivering to.
I don't say that it's on something that we have, but that's where we found it.
In a cave. Well, it's probably from... So, scattered around the ring are a number of structures made after the... oh, what's the word? After the builder exodus. After the last of the builders had left. They were made by individuals who wanted to capture some of the glory of the builders and recreate some of it. So they built almost temples, if you would. These look like some of the glyphs that these sects would use, where they're not precisely builder language. It's almost like a side language that evolved from it, where, like, I can make out what they say based on similarities to other runes, but if I were to see them put in a sentence, it'd be kind of pig speak.
I see.
They are curious, though. Very... He's looking over all of them in particular. What'd you find them alongside? It might give me a hint of what it was intended for.
It was that mural.
I'll describe
a
the
mural.
A mural that we had found.
Okay. Pretty much as soon as you start describing some of the stuff on the mural, his eyebrows go up and he's like, oh, now it's making sense. Okay, so some of these are for sun and light. These are for shadow. So, if I was to guess, I would say it's a relationship between the goddess Galwan, so the goddess of light, and the god of the dark side of the ring. Probably some symbology there about their past relationships.
Oh. And Passenger is all ears about this.
Yeah.
Is this in any way reflecting the what my rephrase? Sorry, my brain just shut off. Does this reflect the mythology or like the storyline that I and my family hold to and practice?
Yes. Because of your upbringing and your family line, you would be familiar with a number of the stories and fables about the goddess Galwan. And one of them is that in her younger years, she and the god of the dark side of the ring had a relationship, because they had together, worked on building the ring up in association with a number of the other gods, and the acolyte Rourke, who brought nature to the ring. And through this commingling and working relationship, they ended up falling in love for a while.
Oh, a little triad. Cool.
And so it ended up not lasting. They went their own ways. But it's seen as an explanation for the distinct differences between the sudden change of day into night, and the fact that on the dark side of the ring, no light gets there.
Okay.
I'll
Yeah.
take my sketchbook back and thank him for his expertise.
Of course. Happy to help. Now, who wants to look over the edge of the waterfall? Anyone ever wanted to stare into the abyss?
Very much so, yes.
He points towards an observation platform down the sort of amphitheater-style way the room is set up. And there's a small catwalk going out over the dome.
You just see Igneous shake his head slightly and just back up.
For those going out on to the catwalk, I want them to roll a wisdom saving throw for me.
Ooh, I get advantage on those.
Nat 20. Which, frankly, makes a lot of sense.
It
I got
does.
a 10.
19.
19.
How did you word that again? If they want to look off into what? Into the depths? Or...
Have any of you ever wanted to look into the abyss?
Yeah, Igneous visibly pales at that statement while shaking his head and backing up.
And Passenger, what did you get?
10.
10. All right, so Passenger and Elgavar, you both got 10. As the four of you step out onto the observation platform, there's some handrails so you can get a good lean over and look down into the roiling mists. The two of you feel a little woozy and nauseous.
I know exactly why I feel woozy and nauseous.
This observation platform stretches far enough out over the edge of the waterfall to provide a good look down, and every once in a while you can see a long way down through the mists when they clear just enough, and you can see the churning water as it's getting directed in various directions, sucked down into various storage reservoirs and other intricate machinations. But it is dark and it is damp, and it feels like a vast void. Kimbrin and Marston, you guys rolled above a 16, so you guys are just fine. You're able to look through the mists and the various refractions of light that pass through it, and it's quite lovely. And you get a sense of just how massive a scale that this facility is.
give a. Well, I can tick that off my bucket list, I suppose.
I'm gonna whisper a small prayer into the darkness at the
Mm.
I push the whole party off.
You fall onto the observation dome, and it's about 10 feet below you.
Fall aside and go up to the ledge. Haha.
You're not part of the party.
Oh shit.
Ooh, shots fired.
Sick burn.
Until you've bled with the party.
Steven, does staring into the void sort of kindle anything for me, reminiscent of the first times that I witnessed such things?
I want you to roll me a religion check. Actually, roll me wisdom. Roll me a straight wisdom.
16.
16. After you whisper your prayer and look down into the abyss, you definitely get like a deep feeling in your chest, almost like your stomach has similarly become a void. You're brought back to looking out at another, or from another builder observation point out into the far reaches of the astral sea, and this is almost its exact opposite. There's 3 different types of builder observatories. You had seen 1, now you've seen 2. And you feel the void in your stomach fill up, and it's like you've accomplished something on your journey. Like you have seen something very important.
Yeah.
As you've looked out beyond the ring, now you've looked into the ring. And you feel as though a hand sort of, clasps you on the shoulder and gives a light pat.
Nice. This is the goal of a pilgrimage. Thank you.
Yes, and you would know the 3rd type of observatory is the builder observatory that monitors the star terminus that the ring rotates around.
Excellent.
Back by Igneous, the technician is sort of just standing slightly smug with his hands behind his back as half of the group looks just fine and the other half gets the woozy look on their face. He sort of leans over towards you, Igneous, and is like, it always happens. Yeah. For every person that's just fine, there's another that gets this sense of vertigo about looking off into it.
There's a very good reason as to why I have vertigo about this, though.
Yeah, I'd imagine
That's
if you've
how
If you've
That's
fallen
how I
into
believe
one
this
abyss.
Oh, they're damn fools looking out over that void. That's. Ugh. It's too much.
You are from one of the dwarf clans that lives in the mountains, if I'm not mistaken. You got a sense of reverence about it, or is it more superstition?
I think it's a little more superstition. I'd just rather prefer to keep my feet on the ground.
Because, if nothing else, the existence of us technicians here proves that nothing bad happens looking out over the void. I stand on that catwalk at least 3 times a day.
And at least 2 of them you're a little crazy.
It certainly feels like it living in this facility from time to time.
I have no doubt it could be viewed as beautiful, but for now I'm not willing to take that leap and take that look yet.
Well, to each your own. Should you end up coming back, I will offer the same thing to you again.
I might be ready at that point. I don't know.
That said, you also came here in an airship, Master Dwarf. One could say that's almost
this is
fairly
my
similar.
This is my first time off the ground. It's terrifying.
It's a lot faster than sailing. And there's always a chance that the ship might get caught in one of the currents and go down into the abyss.
I'll make sure to wear my brown pants next time.
I'm kidding, I'm kidding. No ship has fallen into the abyss in 300 years.
So you
Well,
say
good, it is possible.
Now, if anybody would like, the last bit of the unofficial tour is anybody hungry? We have a bit of builder-ish food.
I wonder if those two can even keep food down right now.
We'll start them off with water. Now, any other questions about the observatory? Or shall we continue on?
We'll continue on, I think.
Marvelous. Don't worry. As soon as you're walking through the hallway, you'll get your sense of equilibrium back and you'll be fine in a minute or two. From there, the technician leads you down another hallway, back up the stairs, and into a cafeteria. It's a fairly small room. It's got a few tables set around. It's not meant to support a large staff. But there is a little window that looks like a box that's missing one of its sides, and a panel off to the side of it. Who has a preferred type of food? And I mean this in the most basic sense possible. Do you prefer sweet, bitter, sour, that kind of thing?
Savory?
Savory is one I can do. He starts typing into the panel. Door closes on the box, it thrums a bit, and eventually opens up, and there is a plate of something.
Yeah, I'm in that camp right there, savory.
There you go. Another savory. Sets you up with a plate, too. You can see it is a bowl of very basic nutrients.
Just gonna kind of like look at it, wiggle it, you know. I'm doing the science stuff to it.
It is 100% edible, and will keep you alive for as long as you eat it.
You stop
Gonna-
eating it, you drop dead.
Finger. Just pinky bowl.
You eat it, it is perfectly smooth, no grit, no grain. Kind of reminds you of an overboiled porridge. The only flavor profile is savory. There is a reason why, despite having access to this, we still order in food. Anybody else want to try the novelty?
I'm gonna just offer my bowl to somebody. Just
I'll
Yeah.
take more of it if no one wants it.
Is it always just paste, or can it do, I don't know, like a ration bar, something you could take on the road?
So, he starts as he looks towards the device. In theory, it does other things. But whenever we've tried, it's produced weird results.
Oh, I want a weird result.
He looks like he's about to say something and just stops. He's like, okay. He turns, starts typing in some stuff, navigating a couple of menus. The door closes, more thrumming, and opens up. And it's a bowl of the paste, slightly stacked in the form of a bar, in the sense that, like, a sandcastle is roughly the shape of a castle. But if you poke it, it stops being that shape.
Uh-huh.
And
your road ration.
And as soon as you attempt to eat it, it moves away from you.
Oh.
Now, don't be confused. It is not, in fact, alive. We've checked.
Okay.
How's it doing that?
We're not entirely sure. We think something with how the nutrient paste gets put together, it's got something to do with electrolytes. And when you poke it, there's enough electrolytes in it to generate certain fields of electricity that result in quote-unquote reflexes.
Party
Think
pet.
I'll skip on the novelty then. Had a big breakfast.
Not a bad idea. For the most part, we keep it as a contingency plan. Should the nations ever go to proper war, or any other major circumstance that might potentially cause us to be cut off for potentially years without outside access, we have this that will keep us alive and monitoring this station until the day we succumb to old age.
Wow.
At
I
least
pray
you're
that
optimistic.
I pray that day never comes. Now, any remaining questions? Potential locations you might like to see closer? These tours are the most exciting thing I ever really get to do here, so don't worry about taking up my time.
I imagine we probably have to get back to the ship pretty soon.
His shoulders slump a bit. Oh. Very well, very well. He leaves the cafeteria and gestures for you all to follow. He leads you in a different direction, and after a bit of walking, you arrive at another lift, different from the one you had taken, but once inside it goes back up to the surface, and once you've left the tower, you can see you're on another one of the structures, and you can see down the line a little bit is the Endurance. We'll conclude the tour with an opportunity for you to walk across one of the Abyss bridges. He points towards one of the masonry stone bridges that runs right along the edge of the waterfall. Makes for another good view. You get some of the fresh air, hear the seabirds singing, stare up at the impossible might that is the ring wall. Try not to feel like you are insignificant in the grand scheme of existence. That kind of thing. You know, day-to-day stuff.
I think wanting to kind of make up for their squeamishness on the observation deck. Passengers gonna wanna take that option.
All right. Yeah, the air up here is fresh. It's very cool. There's a slight dampness to the air as mist makes its way up. Not a lot, like if you were down in lower parts of the waterfall, but enough to keep the heat of midday from feeling oppressive or too overbearing. And it's a very pleasant walk. Similarly, accompanied by the white noise of the moving water as it rushes down into the abyss. The walk takes a little bit. The distance between the two towers is about a 10-minute walk across the bridge. Nothing bad. And you see a number of guards patrolling along. One or two technicians sort of taking their lunch up here. And before long you get back to the tower you had arrived at. And the head technician waves you off, thanks you for your time and the delivery, and wishes you safe voyage.
Okay, bye.
And if there
This
is...
is the most pleasant and informative delivery I think we've made on this trip. Nothing. I was half expecting the whole place to start collapsing in around us and or to be haunted, some such nonsense.
Trouble does seem to follow us.
Am I the problem?
We'll be a few miles down the road, and then the pirates will show up. So I guess not our problem.
Kimbrin, you would be aware that locations like this, tampering with or taking hostile action against are seen as one of the biggest taboos somebody can commit. So it's a quick way to be escalated from pirate to terrorist. So, for the most part, bandits and freelancers avoid harassing locations like this.
Yes, a place like this is tantamount to a monastery. It's a holy site, no sense in attacking it, and not much to gain. It's not like they have much wealth here anyway.
Well, there's plenty to be had here, just not in terms of physical wealth.
From my experience, most people willing to rob someone are looking for that kind of wealth. But as Kimbrin said, best not tread those waters.
Speaking of treading waters, I think it's time we get back to the ship, yeah?
I'll just nod and follow.
All right. The Endurance has its gangplank down and waiting tentatively for you to come back. A number of other sailors are standing on deck just looking out towards the waterfall, and a number more are just looking up at the wall. And as soon as you're back on board, the first mate gives the order to raise the gangplank and lift anchor and get back underway. We'll take a quick fluid adjustment break. I need more coffee. Be back in about 5 minutes.
Sounds good.
I am 100% out of coffee and have been just hanging on by my fingertips this entire game. I might run to the corner store and pick up something.
If you need, we can take a 10-minute break.
That would be wonderful.
Sounds good.
I will be back ASAP.
Good journey.
All right, switch the stream over to Be Right Back.
Why do that when you could just slap a giant "Be Right Back" in the middle of the screen?
Because I actually have theme panels on mine. So the Be Right Back is a nice, cozy tavern.
Yeah, I like my ghetto Microsoft Paint-esque "Be Right Back" right in the middle. It adds a distinct lack of flair.
this boss fight.
Which boss fight?
So I'm playing this game that I kickstarted, Chained Echoes, right?
Hmm.
And storyline wise, there's this dude who's been like fucking murdering people left, right, and center and taking their souls and implanting them into a little girl. And so now I'm fighting this little girl who's got like godlike powers. It's not the end boss by any stretch of the imagination, but
Hmm.
I can put dots on her and whittle her down, but then she also has absorb damage, which for some reason also absorbs dots.
Hmm.
So for as long as she's got absorb damage on, literally any damage that I deal to her I just have to sit there and not do anything for a couple of rounds.
Hmm.
Until her absorb damage wears off, because I can't counter it, apparently. It's not a buff, even though it is, and it should work like a buff, and I should be able to cancel that.
Yeah, it sounds tedious.
Let's see here. Really need heal. I'm staggered. Swap out. Okay.
I need more ram sticks.
Fascinating.
At least I believe, with my limited computer knowledge, I think that would help currently. I was just gonna bring Elden Ring up and start fucking around on it during this break, and my CPU is capping.
Hmm.
It is struggling. I saw you commented on the thing about like the fear, and then it was like, what was it? Irrational fear. It was like open closets and stuff like that.
Open doorways, cabinets, and closets in the dark.
Yeah, dude, I feel that so much.
Like, I'm fine with the dark. Like, I can walk through my apartment, like, middle of the night, 4 a.m., everything closed. But then if there's, like, an open closet, well, it's at it, I'm like, fuck that.
Yeah, exactly. I have told Lexus multiple times, close your closet before you go to bed. You should just leave that shit wide open. And if I notice it while I'm walking around the bedroom in the dark with my phone light on before I go to bed, I'm like, God damn it. I'm like, close your fucking door. Like, I do not like it.
Like, it's my irrational fear.
One of the only things, in my opinion, worse is a mirror in the dark. Fuck that.
I don't have a problem with mirrors. Back when I was dating Alyssa, she had a problem with mirrors. Like,
Let's listen to some spooky podcasts. I do not care for mirrors one bit.
like there was, we ended up going to this, Lake Itasca. They had Four Seasons suites out there for our Christmas, and the bedroom had this big mirror in it, and she made me put a blanket over it before we went to bed.
That is acceptable.
He's like,
and
I
understandable.
don't like mirrors.
Yeah, fuck that.
The dark basement thing always gets me.
Yeah, basements are fair.
Yeah.
Like,
Uh,
don't have a
Black
basement,
at
but
the bottom of the
I
stairs,
have
no
the
thanks.
murderiest murder basement, like completely unfinished. There's a portion of wall that is unfinished. It's not good.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I grew up in a
Yeah.
house like that where it was just like a rickety, only like one railing on like the interior wall, but like completely open to the on the like the
Yeah.
inner part of the stairs, like creaked like a motherfucker, and like all the walls were the unfinished, just like rough
Yeah.
stone.
And like
And,
the stairway down is like a little too narrow.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
The light in there is like decides if it wants to turn on or not. Which is not great for my sanity. I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah, ours.
feel
I
that.
mean, like that's where we had our like our essentially our laundry room was down there. So like the washer and dryer. So like right at the bottom of the stairs, you know, there was a light and area with some rugs put down, to seem a little more hospitable. But like, at least originally we eventually tore it out. But like ours was a big basement too. It basically was the entire size of the house. Like, which I feel is fairly abnormal. At least from a lot of other houses I've been in. But way off in the corner, there was like what I could only describe as a shed in the basement.
Excellent.
And I was told it was basically an old canning. Like it was they would can stuff. So like I don't know what maybe it was like a light thing or what exactly was the purposes for it, but I mean like seeing what looks to be a building of some sort inside of a building it always unnerved me when I was young. And then I went in there once, or I should say I opened the door and there was a pit, and there was like just creepy shit. It just was the weirdest thing I think I've ever seen.
Well,
I
the
never
canning
went back in
just
there.
produce a lot of fumes, so it might have just been that they wanted to
Have it being like a secure, separate.
Yeah, really trap you in
job.
a small room with those fumes rather than let it air out, you know?
Yeah, the old house that back when I used to live with Tony Essig and Tristan Fox, had an unfinished basement, and both of my roommates at the time, they were both in the National Guard, and it was during the Dakota Access Pipeline protest, so they both got, activated. So for like 3 months, I was in this old house with a creepy-ass basement entirely alone. And that's where the laundry room was. So every time I had to do laundry, I was like, I fucking hate this. Welcome back, Amanda.
Mm-hmm.
Got your coffee?
I am steadily jamming it into my system.
Ready for us to start up again?
Yep.
All right. Once everybody is back on... Oh, let me get the stream back set to live. There we go. Once everybody is back on board, the gangplank raises, and the anchor is lifted, and the Endurance rises back into the sky. The captain announces that the next stop won't be until the ship reaches the upspin coast of Osifix.
Sorry, what was that?
Oh, the next delivery isn't until the upspin side of Osifix.
Okay.
No delivery...
What
Yep.
is that like? How is that like several days? I'm assuming. Or?
Yeah, it's skipping over the entirety of the continent of Alcria, which is one of the longer continents. So it'll be about a week and a half to 2 weeks of just constant sailing.
Okay.
All right.
Well, with no access to various raw materials, I think my week and a half is going to be spent working on the cube.
All right.
Not cube, the sphere.
The orb. You're gonna ponder it, huh?
Orb. I'm gonna ponder my orb.
That said, you are going to...
A quick question.
Yes.
Did I notice passenger like perk up when we were discussing, or when Elgavar was discussing with the one dude about the language and symbols?
Roll me a perception check.
Six.
Nothing out of the ordinary for you.
Okay. All right.
You were
Further
focused
questions, Your
elsewhere.
Yeah. And to be fair, Passenger is maybe a little bit almost bored by that. Like they have a background in it and have a certain amount of familiarity with it.
I just don't think you've shared that you have that sort of background and familiarity with us as a party.
When we were at the mural, actually, I did study it along with the rest of you, and I did have passing mention that I am familiar with the with the mythology.
Oh, okay. I thought at the time you kind of made some disdainful comments or something.
Yeah, I made some very poor rolls, and therefore decided that it was because I didn't pay attention in history class.
Okay.
But I have a lot of passive knowledge about it.
Says the person that now has a whip that's powered by history.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Yeah, that...
You'll notice, Stephen, my history, while I am proficient, it is still only a +3.
All right.
Intelligence is not my strongest stat.
I feel that. Relatable content.
Look at wisdom and charisma, though. Come on.
All right. That said, since the next stop isn't until the coast of Osifix, you guys are going to experience some corner cutting on the ring. The first mate gives the order to the sailor that's currently manning the helm, and the Endurance begins to rise at a very steep angle. Since they're now looking to shave time, they're... Oh, what's the word? Like an interior angle of a circle. So they're cutting close, like closer to the star, further away from the surface of the ring to shave down total distance travel. The ship rises up and up and up, and eventually you get the added novel view that many of you probably haven't seen at this point of rising above the ring walls. The first mate gives the general advice that the air up this way is thinner, and so if you feel lightheaded, stay away from the edge of the rails.
I think passenger is glued to the rails, staring out at that.
Yes. In a flip from looking down into the abyss of the churning waters, you now get a grand view of looking out into the astral sea. The mists and foreign constellations of the far out space are tinted with various colors that you can't really see looking up towards the star. And it's almost like seeing the night sky during the day. Down below you, you see the, crystal clear waters, the glittering sea floor, and off to your side you see stars and constellations.
I'm gonna break out my my orb that gives me like a fortune each day.
Oh, yes! That! I forgot I gave you that little trinket too.
Mm-hmm.
Oh gosh. My brain's blanking. What were those called again? The horoscopes.
Horoscopes.
Mm-hmm.
That's your horoscope.
For today, yay, 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 yay.
I think I'm gonna look through. If it's like a glass orb, isn't it? Like
Yeah,
stuff
it's
on
a
it.
glass orb with an orrery inside.
Yeah.
You raise it up to the light of the star. Terminus above you. The light reflects through the glass orb, catches the star inside. The little ring that represents Elysia begins to rotate, so too does some of the bodies further out around it as it begins to spin and align. Once they are all aligned, the sort of misty words rise above it. And after a bit, they clear up, and you can make out the horoscope. And it reads, "A man with a beak will attempt to bill you. You have much advice to give on matters that are of no concern. Walk it off, champ. You will inadvertently shoplift several times this week."
Is it just like rapid fire throwing?
Oh no, this is the one horoscope.
All of wow.
That is your horoscope for today.
Can you give that to me again? I feel like that's a lot, and I need to write it down.
A man with a beak will attempt to bill you. You have much advice to give on matters that are of no concern to you. Walk it off. You will inadvertently shoplift several times this week. And that's only half the horoscope, technically.
Inadvertently shoplift.
The rest of it reads, "You are so tough, you've been swimming with the sharks, and all you've suffered is a bad case of pruny toes."
You know what? send this to me on Facebook. I can't write fast enough. I don't want to drag this out any longer. But
Oh, good.
weird. Does this horoscope appear at a point, at a particular point when the orrery is aligned? Is there?
Yeah. It shows up as soon as all the bodies are aligned, and then the actual mists, the misty texts show up, sort of in between the orb and your face, sort of like it's projected out.
I might bring that back to Piranesi and go, what the fuck, man? What is this?
It is exactly what I told you. It is an orrery that gives you a horoscope for the day.
But that's not... Look at this! And I'll show him, the notebook I have, where I scribbled all of that down. That is a lot more horoscope than what I've received any of the previous days. And I've been doing this every morning just out of curiosity. Don't get me wrong, it's still dumb.
I mean, it's obvious if you think about it. I mean, the man with a beak will attempt to bill you. Obviously, the man with the beak is me. I'm going to try to bill you for something. You have much advice to give on matters that are of no concern to you. Somebody's going to be talking. You're going to chime in and offer your own 2 cents. Inadvertently shoplifting several times this week. Remind me not to open my shop to you for a few days.
I roll my eyes.
You've been swimming with the sharks, and all you've suffered is a bad case of pruny toes. You've gone into dangerous situations, such as fending off pirates and getting struck by lightning, and all that happened with the lightning as you got singed a bit. I would count that as only getting pruny toes after swimming with sharks.
Uh-huh.
It's exactly what I said it was.
I shove the thing in my pocket and go and kind of huff off. I don't know. Something about this bothers me, and I can't put my finger on exactly what it is. So I'm going to sit here and think about it.
Alright, that one I used a funny horoscope generator.
It was fantastic. Thank you.
Like funny
horoscope generator. It gave a whole list for the other horoscopes, the other signs, and god, some of these are gold.
This one specifically set out to yuck some yums.
Yeah, also it doesn't involve modern technology, so it didn't desynchronize anything. One of them is check your voicemail, you have something in your teeth.
Okay.
I do appreciate that.
It's all madness. Madness,
Or, your next career choice, serial temp worker.
I mean, that's basically what we do already.
I don't know. I've been in the same job for 9 years.
You just took this job several months ago. What are you talking about?
Okay. Anybody else doing anything particular as the endurance rises above the line of the ring walls and sets course for the coast of Osifix?
Pondering my orb.
All right.
I'm gonna withdraw my calligrapher's tools, and I'm gonna set about drawing an artistic rendering of the ring world, of the ring from this perspective.
All right. It is definitely a unique perspective. It gives you a view that you've seen before, but definitely a different angle.
Yeah.
Stan, roll me an intelligence check.
Intelligence.
With advantage.
With advantage. Okay, so 9 on the die, or 8 on the die. Well, we'll go with the 9. That's a 12.
With a 12. That is enough because you notice that as you rise above the ring wall, the light of the Star Terminus... are you doing this in the ship, on deck?
Probably on deck.
Alright, the light of the Star Terminus is shining down on you, but you also see the enormous expanse of the Astral Sea beside you. So, in part, like, it's as bright as day, but you still see the night sky. And the orb responds to that. The rings marked with day and the rings marked with night, they move pretty smooth, like you're able to shift them quite a bit.
Okay. I didn't think I'd get to see day and night at the same time, but here we are. I'm gonna wave down Gareth. And show him what I've managed to put together here.
In the evenings, I'm typically just up on deck if that's what time of day it is.
It's still daytime, but
Okay.
later in the day.
Or I guess, yeah, evening, so yeah. All
Yeah,
right.
there's no real, like, dusk.
Yeah.
It's
So,
either late
yeah,
day or
that's
early
where
night.
I would be, for sure.
Yeah, and in your mind, it makes sense, because the technician had mentioned that in relation with the glyphs and the mural, he had mentioned the relationship between the goddess of light and the god of dark and the abyss. And so, seeing both at the same time, day and night, the sphere is responding.
What do you reckon it means?
Well, I think we can only really work on this cube when we can only really work on this orb when we are in direct sunlight and in darkness as well. This orb was
Wait, how do you mean? How are those two things? How can you be in darkness and direct sunlight?
I just point to the dark sky above us, as well as us being in direct light of the star.
As you rose above the ring wall, you can see the night sky off to the sides of you, but also the sunlight of the day.
I think back to the last time, like, I had, like, one, if I remember right, only one, like, night when I was fiddling around with it, where, like, it seemed like it was doing something. Was that a time where I knew we would have been high up or not?
It was right around the turn of day into night. So they were a little looser and easier to shift. And then it also responded when you were very close to the interior surface of the ring.
I share those insights with Elgavar as well.
So there's a couple circumstances where the ring or the orb responds. This has been the most overt.
Okay.
Now, I wonder if it's actually keyed to this particular bright light, or if any bright light will do so.
Well, it seems to have a couple maybe triggers, or maybe you can do certain things at certain areas at times and other things during others. Might be a multi-step process, but that seems a bit asinine. I don't know how that would be practical to actually use.
if you intended to ever open this thing.
I'm going to keep going through those rolls though, and I'll keep going through the rotations and making notes and trying
think-
to puzzle this.
Do you think? Never mind. Never mind.
No, so any
Well-
thought is good.
You were talking to the proprietor of the research facility with the guide, I suppose, about the language. Do you think any sort of further insight into that aspect of it would help in this situation, or
Maybe.
really it's trial and error? Because I recall
there's-
back. No, sorry. Go ahead.
Well, there's certain trial and error to it, but the fact that the rings specifically mention day and night, at least as way of metaphor, and the fact that we can see both day and night right now, I believe that the language is at least looking into, because if we can decipher any more of these runes, we might be able to determine what causes other rings to rotate freely.
Well, I was just thinking maybe we should see if Passenger has any insight. I know they at least had some thoughts and comments when we were in that runes and seemed to have some understanding of the language.
Well, perhaps they might be insightful. Certainly helped out in the engine room once or twice. May have some different views.
Together at this point, so I'll leave it up to you. We can, sort of a vote. If you think it would be beneficial, we could go ask them, or we could keep working on it on our own.
Well, it's your project. If you want, we'll go ahead and we'll ask Passenger.
All right. Well, they probably are up and about somewhere. We might as well see if they have anything to add tonight.
I go and start looking for the source of any coffee.
Yeah, you'll see Passenger is in fact on the deck, plastered to this the railing with coffee in hand and muttering to herself, staring at their notebook, like flipping back and forth between a couple of pages. Teach those toothy suckers some synchronized water ballet moves? What? How? What is that even? Ugh. And they throw the notebook on the floor and like out, staring out at the constellations and sipping their coffee bitterly.
I'm going to pick up the notebook and hand it back to you gently. Evening, Passenger.
Hello.
Do you like puzzles?
I do, when I can figure them out.
I just turn to... I turn to Gareth and go, well, maybe not then.
What do you need?
We're keeping this on the down low for right now. Gareth found this back in the Goblin Caves.
Oh.
And pull out the orb.
Ooh.
Some
While
sort of
not,
puzzle box.
I would love to fuss with it. Does it? And you're saying it has some symbolism relating to the lore.
Lore.
Lore. I am proficient in both history and religion. So if you guys are fussing with it, like maybe I'm not going to figure it out on my own, but I can add insight to like give you advantage on the roll. Wink.
Well, so we're... I explained, it's like, so we think it's a puzzle box of some sort. Either that or it's some sort of doomsday device, I don't know. But that's not going to stop me from tinkering with it, even if I did know it was a doomsday device, you know me.
Sure.
But we've been... certain parts of it rotate and click into place where depending on where we are on the ring. And this part rotates when we were, deep down in the earth and along the wall. This part rotates, when you can see Terminus, and then I flip it over. And this part rotates when you can see the night sky.
So I start turning and rotating things and trying to match up symbols if at all I can. Do I have any insight based on my background as far as like what these symbols mean and why they are appearing here and what this device might be, or if there's any mention of a device like this in my order?
Roll me insight or investigation.
All right, insight it is. You're going to be, as I'm tinkering with it, I think at this point I'm, for the first time in a while, going to kind of summon Lodelis. And I'm in inspiration to reroll that.
I'm just gonna have my notebook handy for anything
Can I-
that she might point out or whatnot.
I didn't declare it ahead of time because I forgot that I have guidance. Can I retroactively be like, I cast guidance?
I'll allow it. You're not in combat.
Grief's sake. All right, that is 15 altogether.
15. As you're looking it over, Modelis, you feel the spiritual presence, and you get a flash of insight in your mind, and it's an old story similar to the one that the technician had been talking about, the old relationship between Galwin and the god of the dark side of the ring, and specifically the continuation of why they parted ways. And that the god of the dark side of the ring lived in a land that could never benefit from Galwin's presence, and his presence in Galwin's realm tainted it somewhat. And so he left Galwin, but now resides, it's said, on the panels that rotate around the star and create night on the ring. So he is as close as he can be to Galwin, but he can never actually be with her.
All right, so what this looks like is my inverted irises glow so that the black parts actually turn kind of a soft grayish glowing color. And Lodelis, I think, then speaks through me. And you guys hear, it is technically still Passenger's voice, but it has a very different lilt to it, almost an accent. And they will give you that full breakdown. And then the light fades, Lodelis goes away, and it's Passenger again. Still remember everything that happened, but I kind of look a little paler, a little more sallow.
Are you okay?
I'm fine. Fine.
Because that was something, and I'm not sure I have a word for it yet.
The word for it is Lodelis. It is the part of my soul which is untethered. It's a Kalishtar thing. And you'll see the passenger's a little like almost embarrassed by it, and is like trying to play it cool and not doing a very good job of it. Like the tapping that they're kind of insistently doing gets a little bit faster, but they're
Well, I suppose you've seen my glowy side. Can't really fault you for having a dark and creepy side.
it's not dark. It's the opposite of dark, actually. It's the part of me that is light. The body is what's getting in the way. Anyway, best I can tell, this is, correct me if I'm wrong, Stephen, but this is basically a reflection of that story in a way. Like it is a puzzle box, but it's mirroring the way that story goes. Like there are parts of this that are obscuring other parts of it.
Yes.
No.
Well,
Do I
that's,
get any insight into unlocking it, if that's the case?
From what you were told by Marston and Elgavar, as well as the insight that you had received from your spirit, the closer you get to combining the forces of light and dark, make the puzzle box more reactive. And in the same way that the God of Darkness ended up going towards the star, but still separated, the closer you get either to the ring superstructure or towards the star terminus can also make it react.
So it's likely that we'll have to be... Oh, actually, maybe there are just parts of it that are... Okay, so there are 3 moving sections to this, and they react based on proximity to each of the individual bodies, right? The ring
Yes.
itself, the panels, and the star.
Yes, and given the general nature of puzzle boxes, you need to accomplish certain requirements before you can go on to the next step.
Yeah.
And so it might be that you need to be close to the ring to unlock certain aspects, and then close to the star to unlock more aspects.
Yeah. I'll ask, Marsden. No. I'll just, yeah.
Yep.
Have you already unlocked part of this?
Not sure. I made about, I don't know, close to a month ago, I think at this point, the first little bit of progress I'd achieved with it, and I kind of point out which section I made something on. So I'm like, I'm not sure if that's the first step, but I guess that does align potentially with what you just discovered, or at least theorized.
So maybe we're close enough to the panels now that we can unlock the next step.
Well, the question is, do you think success? Or I guess do I remember like getting, I don't know, like a click or like a satisfying like completion when I was working on that part, or did it just seem like it was moving? Okay, I do remember that.
You got the panels moving to the point where they once again became stuck. So like,
okay,
you had moved it, and then click, panels stick.
All right. So based on that, if that was the first step and it's connected to this story you're familiar with, what do you think the next one will be?
Is there any indication of like the like repeating symbols on the moving parts now?
Let's see. I'll go off of the. Let's see. All three of you, Marston, Elgvar, Passenger, all three of you roll me insight.
Can I use my proficiency in insight to give advantage to one of the other two?
No. For this one, I want all three of you.
All right.
I'm going to spend my inspiration.
All right. 17 for me.
I'm really glad that I spent my inspiration because that turned a 1 into a 19. So total
Nice.
22.
You said what was sorry? Investigation.
Insight.
Insight. Insight 22.
Insight terminus. 15.
15. All right, with a combined insight of over 50.
We
Just-
put our heads together.
Standing around, sort of discussing the aspects of this. The first sort of breakthrough you had was right around dusk on the surface of the ring. Elgavar at one point got more progress on the tram to the Dust District, which was very close to the surface of the superstructure of the ring. And now there has been progress up above the ring wall. Potential continuation of it could be either on the dark side of the ring or up near, like, at the actual panels or the star itself. Locations of importance or strong forces.
Has
Well, I guess-
anybody ever? Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Has anybody ever been to the dark side of the ring?
Yes. It's not common just because there's nothing there.
Yeah.
There is a couple of observation facilities similar to the Abyss station you were on, where there's observation points on the dark side, where you can look out at the abyss of the Astral Sea and see the exterior of the ring.
Well, and I would definitely know about those, right?
Yeah,
At least tangentially.
yeah.
Yeah. I'll suggest
They're
maybe that's
known
a-
to exist.
Yeah. I'll suggest that's a location you could go to unlock the next part.
Well,
Yeah.
I guess we're stuck here until we get there.
Yeah.
And
Kimbryn
there's...
would probably want to come with.
Hmm.
They seemed pretty enamored with the last station we were at.
I suppose
And-
they are on a pilgrimage, so
Yeah. Do we know
Yeah.
anything about that pilgrimage? This is Passenger asking, like, the group if we've learned anything in game about
That I'm
that.
aware of.
Like, we know that they're part of an order of monks, and they did use their connections to help us get into the Dwarven city.
That's about.
Do we know anything else about that?
I don't believe so.
I have not been active about sharing elements of that with you guys, unless you've sussed it out for yourselves.
Yeah, I think Passenger pounds the last of their coffee and is like, I'm gonna go ask.
Yeah, this has been a very secretive party.
Uh-huh. Just beelining for Kimbryn wherever they ended up. Wait, wait a minute. Have you been using him pronouns?
I accidentally did earlier, but I have been endeavoring to use they.
Yeah, okay. I thought so. Yeah. Anyway, heading toward them.
I believe they're similarly up on deck, you said, doing drawings.
Yes, Kimbryn is on deck, up near the bow of the ship, attempting a an artful calligraphic portrait of the ring from this position.
Ooh.
Yes, using the calligrapher's tools with which they are proficient.
I walk
View.
up and just observe for a little bit. I will tell you that is a lovely rendition.
Thank you.
Have an eye for this sort of thing.
I don't have much occasion to use these as often as I'd like. Certainly when we are punching our way through various cities and catacombs, so it is nice to have a moment of peace.
So what's the deal with your order?
Blunt. I like it.
I like to get to the...
Well, there are many belief systems on the ring. Many believe in old gods. Some believe in divinity of the builders. My order believes that the builders were not necessarily divine beings, but had similar degrees of power over the world and universe.
Oh.
They were people who created great things, were divine in their power, but not in their ability to understand who would come next. Our order are stewards of the ring, protecting the places of the builders, their secrets, and preventing the use of their power by mortals such as ourselves who cannot countenance with the responsibility of doing so. My pilgrimage is to witness the ring in its splendor, visit the sites of the builders such as they are, to get a greater sense of perspective. Today has been a good day for that, both on the ground and here.
Yeah, you really just threw out a bunch of blasphemy and just didn't even blink about it. That was great. Sorry, I'm not used to hearing people talk about, to hearing people just flatly talk like that. Wow, that's... I didn't realize that any of your orders were still around.
We're not popular for many reasons.
Yeah, no kidding.
And we have a certain awareness of the gods as such as they are. If they are real and have an impact on the world, then it is beyond our understanding. They are related somehow to the builders. It is all the more proof that the builders were of a divine bent. But we seek not to assume.
Huh.
I'm just gonna say that very bluntly and not comment any further.
Wait, what did you say?
Say what very
Yeah,
bluntly?
Dead.
What was that?
My god is dead.
Oh.
How's a god die? I say equally bluntly.
Explosively.
If it dies, was it ever a god?
It had powers of creation and destruction.
So do people.
So did the builders. And they are gone too. Why do you ask questions about myself? None of you have asked me much. Only Obsidian did before he vanished.
Well, we were talking about... I actually kind of like try to rein myself in instead of explaining all of everything because you guys were secretive about this earlier.
Hell, at this point, I figure everyone pretty much knows. I gesture to Elgavar to just kind of like a circular waving hand motion.
Is this the point at which I get to find out whatever Marston has been up to this whole time?
Oh, nobody's ever going to find out what Marston's been up to this whole time. Let's be fair. The best we're going to get from Marston is 60%.
Yeah, I
Okay.
believe Obsidian admitted to tailing me one day, but he's gone now. I didn't kill him, by the way, because I realized how that sounds now that I say it out loud.
Glad to hear it.
Completely unrelated that he disappeared recently.
I have to admit,
Suspicious.
I tailed you on several occasions as well. Am I
well,
disappearing?
You know, see, you had the right of it by not admitting that to my face, at least before I mentioned it ahead of time.
Yes, and I'm
Uh,
admitting it in front of witnesses. That's the important part.
But yeah, I found this back at that ruins where we met those delightful goblins.
Ah, those goblins. Rest in
while ago.
peace.
It's been a bit.
Delightful goblins.
Wait,
Oh,
what do you mean?
I didn't realize you were here.
I don't know where I don't even know where.
I was gonna say,
Why rest in
we-
peace?
we-
Those goblins were perfectly fine when we left them.
We've kind of been just wandering around the ship, trying to like. We did that thing in RPGs where you have to talk to the whole team, but they're all spread out over like a building.
Yeah, I was actually gonna cut for a moment in a bit to ask what Igneous is up to.
Apparently, he wandered into what appears to be a group discussion. So, welcome aboard.
I mean, you guys are now his group, so.
Way to really get to know us.
Look, he's lost
the idea
puppy
that
dog in
he's
this,
been here the
okay?
whole
He doesn't
time.
know what's going on.
I
There's
just gotta
only a
jump.
cold forge. There's only so much he can do.
He said no to looking at an abyss earlier, but now there's an abyss all around him.
Yeah, you know, oof, it's tough.
I looked to the side. Oh, well, all right. Well, I said everybody. I suppose that means you as well.
Yeah, those, back at the cave with those poor goblins.
They're not poor anymore. We taught them tomato farming.
Oh, rest in peace.
Steven,
Rest in peace. You sick
stop
son of
saying
a
rest in peace.
Motherfucker.
Makes me very concerned for our favorite goblins.
We will abandon this storyline and go back to those goblins right now.
Yeah, we're turning this
To be
fucking
fair,
ship around.
They are not my favorite goblins. My favorite goblin is and always will be Splug.
I'm always partial to Poog. That said, that's biased because I was Poog.
Boog!
I didn't even rate your favorite goblin. Sad.
You're in the top 3.
How many have there been, Stan? 3.
How many other goblins, Stan? How many?
Listen, okay, not even Norm makes it into my top 3, alright?
Norm!
I love Norm, but he's not part of my top 3.
Meow.
Yeah.
Yeah, we caught that.
That's my favorite goblin. Monster.
So yes, we've diverted with goblin talk. Back to the puzzle box from the cave of totally still alive goblins.
You know what? You're not gonna get a rise out of us.
Yeah. Well,
You're just fucking
moving on.
about.
Yeah, the only way you're gonna get a rise out of us is if we make bread.
Boo.
Whatever.
I'm certainly curious about the sphere, and the runes therein.
Kimbrin, taking a look at it, you would be able to see that the runes are as mentioned by the technician, they're offshoot of the builder speak, likely done a good amount of time after the fact by a different party that was approximating it and making changes.
What's my perspective on those kinds of people, right? Those who are early imitations of the builders. Like, does my order have sort of a perspective on those kinds of groups?
Some of them are, for the most part, they would just be inconsequential, since for the most part they built their structures close to builder technology, but didn't actually interfere with builder technology.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the orb was found in, a man-made structure on an island. It wasn't by any builder structures, but it was made to, like, there was a shrine in there with, murals dedicated to the builders and other historical events. And then a piece of something, I wouldn't really call it technology, but it's made in approximation to builder technology. Like, metallic, has a number of the runes and glyphs.
There is a line from a poem, an old one. It says, a perfect ring cuts a perfect sphere, describing the movement of the ring not only as a ring follows around a star, but as it spins as well, cutting spheres through space. It makes me think of this, a perfect approximation, as best as man can imitate a god.
So it's wholly representative of the world at large, then? If I'm understanding?
Every group who tries to imitate the builders does so through metaphor, through representation. My order is no different, nor were likely the people who created this. Every piece of it is some sort of a message or representation of what the builders once tried to do. They cut a sphere because a sphere represents all of what a ring can be. A ring is only a portion. Have you...
People
what have
don't
you
live
opened this so
Sorry.
What was that?
What have you tried to open this so far?
Give him the rundown of everything we've discussed so far. We're thinking one of those observation stations might be the best location for the next piece of the puzzle, so to speak. And we figured you'd be interested in a location like that, so we thought we'd come and get your insight.
Yeah, you tell him Waffles.
Very upset because I just ate some chicken and I didn't give him any.
I mean, obviously.
Top 10
Chicken
fantasy
and
betrayals.
waffles.
Top 10
He
anime
jumped
betrayals.
down and put his idiot face into the container of chicken and bit and tried to drag it off.
Crime.
Yeah. Fight the power, Waffles. Fight the power.
Row, row.
Row. Anyway, sorry about my cat interrupting us.
Oh no. Delightful.
So we were thinking one of the observation decks on the dark side of the ring might be the next logical place for us to unlock the next step. Have you ever been to any of those?
I'm gonna look around the ship to make sure nobody else is listening to us.
There's a couple folks that are, just patrolling. There's 2 lookouts that walk the deck, one near the front, one near the back, and then they rotate every once in a while. One guy up in the crow's nest, one guy at the helm, and then there's just a couple sailors here and there that are just looking out into the astral sea, but nobody in particular is near you.
I'm gonna say in a low tone, the kinds of places you're talking about are well-guarded secrets for a good reason. They are complex, dangerous, and in some cases deeply connected to something the builders were doing.
Stephen, would I have any reference for what he's talking about? Or what they're talking about?
The dark side observation stations, for the most part, you need to go directly through, the ring superstructure to get to, which is more often than not either regulated by the church or strictly off limits by various kingdoms. Specifically, there is a royal mandate that you would remember learning about from 1,000 years prior, where all the kingdoms had come together and agreed that no kingdom would specifically investigate builder technology.
Right, although we have to maintain it.
Yeah.
But
the Abyss facility is, required for life, so it's one of the exceptions.
Right, but the church does have access to a certain amount of that.
Yeah, there would be a couple of facilities that they would maintain.
I'll just say that, actually. The church is kind of an exception to the rule, and they do have access to certain, well, all of it has to be maintained, right? And there are clergy who do that. I'm just saying it's not impossible.
These places do exist. I myself have been to one.
I knew it.
Would you have a way of getting back, or is this sort of a once-in-a-lifetime sort of thing?
I might be able to gain access again, but it is not the sort of place I can bring guests or travelers. That said, I might be able to have some insight into others. My order would closely guard any that they were stewards of, but they might have insight or understanding into the stewardship of other observatories. A place we might be able to gain access to through subterfuge. I have no interest in subverting my order or their authority over our holy places. But if we were to subvert the government or another church, I don't think they'd have a problem with that.
Alright.
I think that they might support additional insight in understanding the places that are guarded from us. If you understand my meaning.
Well, what I'm taking away from all this is we're currently at an impasse, and this might have to be tabled for the time being.
Well, we
But-
certainly won't be able to understand more until we land. And presently we are on the opposite side of the ring from where I last set foot in such a location.
But we are.
Definitely. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
It's okay. We are going to Osifix, which is where I'm from and where my family is.
If there are regions of superstructure that enter the deepest parts of the ring, we may be able to find an observatory. Hopefully one less well guarded than my orders. Or at the very least one we can subvert somehow.
Definitely something to put a look into.
Passenger, if you have connection to any of these organizations that might have knowledge or insight, once we reach your homeland, it might be time to put them into practice. If searching for this sort of place is really your design.
Passenger kind of shuffles foot to foot, does the same thing that Kimbrin just did, making sure that nobody's close enough to actually hear us. And I think it is time. Passenger is going to pull out their signet ring for House Vex. And I'll just say, I do have connections, although I'm hesitant to break them. My name is Telceris Vex. My family is of some of the highest order in the church. We are prophets. Or at least we monitor the prophecies that specifically related to the Skarnir. And to maintaining balance in the ring in general. Stephen, what do my connections actually look like as far as like any of those superstructures go? Because there are some deep connections with the church itself.
Yes.
But
Your family is one of the noble families that is closely associated with the church. Specifically, your father, nobility rank-wise, is a baron. Church-wise, he would be about the rank of deacon.
Yeah.
So, high up, not the highest, but still definitely has a lot of connections and sway. And so yeah, he would be able to, at the very least, he would be familiar with more or less all the Ossifixian locations, just because he would likely have some hand in the maintenance of it.
Excellent. I will disclose that and hastily put the ring back away.
I'm sorry to say that I'm not some sort of secret duke or demon. I feel like there's been a lot of revelations lately. But I will say that I think this orb is probably a lot more powerful and potent than I originally assumed. Because if it takes this sort of level of fuckery to even open, I can't imagine it's hiding a marble.
I'm curious about it.
This kind of trouble.
I don't know.
Sorry, what do you say?
Continue.
I don't know that I necessarily want to subvert the church, but unlocking secrets is what I'm out here to do. I know that there is a lot that is being hidden from the public, and I'm interested in discovering why.
I'm sure as hell curious. I've never picked up or come across a bauble that was this hard to crack. And like I said, I doubt it's going to be not worth the while.
One thing I will add for that is the time frame that you were able to sort of kind of date the puzzle box back to would be before some of the royal mandates that cut off access to a number of these facilities.
Yep.
So, in the past, it would have been easier, but
Easier,
nowadays...
but not easy.
Yeah. Nowadays, it's a bit of a number of hurdles.
It might not have been a crime before, but it was still a world-spanning pilgrimage.
Exactly. It's the same thing. It's basically the same thing that Kimbrin is doing, right? I that's most of what I'm curious about. If there's some kind of connection to that.
I have a question before we proceed. Specifically for Marsden, who has taken charge of the sphere, and for the rest of you. If we open this and find something that should not be shared with the world, that is too dangerous to be out there, what is it you intend to do with it? Whether it is a trinket or information, somebody went through the trouble of hiding it. And I am curious what you would like to do with something that might want to remain hidden.
Moose, what was the name of I can't remember, and it's not on the map. Or at least the map I'm looking at. That the area that was destroyed due to the
event
terraforming stuff. Yeah.
Like the town you're from?
Yeah.
You're from the town of Harmony.
Yeah. And well, I might not be a saint, but from the bottom of what soul I have, I will swear that if this is a danger to the world, I would be the first to jettison it into the void. Since we're in a sharing mood, it's not something I like to talk about too much, but I'm a survivor from Harmony.
At that point, everybody can roll a history check.
I love those. That's how we get lore.
And this session has been quite lore dumpy.
Holy shit.
This session brought to you by Lore.
Brought to you by The Falling of Lies.
Like, it's even player lore dumpy.
Yeah, I was like, all it took was like several months for us to figure out anything about each other's characters.
Hey, Moose, remember when you gave me this puzzle box and you weren't intending it to be anything important?
This puzzle box was literally nothing, but then it just kept evolving into something more.
You gave me a puzzle box, okay?
It's amazing how this is like clearly you've been thinking about all the ways this could work into shit, and like, bravo, man. Like,
the more thing, and it's the friendship we found along the way. I will attack you.
I got a 21.
All right, 21, 19. Okay. Stan, you said you got a 21?
Yeah.
Okay, that'll be enough for you. Everybody else, if you get above a 15, the name Harmony would mean something for you. It was a small frontier town on the continent of Crowania. I sent a little snippet of the map. Harmony's sort of center left side. It's just downspin a ways of the area known as the Grey Wastes, which about 1,500 years or so ago, during the Wayfarer War, where, travelers from the stars came and helped stop a invasion of the ring. The Grey Wastes stand as a reminder of it because it bears the largest concentration of just this alien stone that was described as a living rock that could grow and consume as it went along. And the story of Harmony is specific because it was destroyed by a sudden growth of living stone. For the first time in over 1,000 years. Nobody's entirely sure why, or at the very least hasn't given a official reason, but it's now considered a desolate ghost town. Nobody lives there anymore. And almost in the same way as Pompeii, like, there's still just bodies standing around from where they were where they were when the stone suddenly erupted and grew over the better part of the town.
Wait, and that was recent?
No, it was about 20-some years back.
Well, more recent than the
Yeah.
actual war. Okay, sorry, I missed that part. Damn, okay.
So it's recent history as opposed to ancient history. And it is considered one of the more recent tragedies in modern memory.
Adding and just kind of continuing my last thought. I know what happens when something uncontrollable gets out of hand or is used by greedy or power-hungry people. It's my pledge. Now, if this thing makes you wildly wealthy and successful in all ways, that's another story. I'd gladly keep it at that point.
Yeah, I will say I had a lot of fun chatting with Nick and setting up this backstory.
Yeah, it was good. Very interesting. Can you guys still hear me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
No one else has said anything other than Moose. So that's sure.
Attentive listeners.
Yeah. Respect.
Yeah, and Cameron and Nick are... Not Nick. Cameron and Alex are acutely familiar with the Grey Wastes.
Oh, yeah. Look, I don't need to take notes right now. I got this.
Yeah, exactly.
Harmony is news, but you guys were at the advent of the Grey Wastes.
I was there 1,500 years ago. The day men did not fail.
You guys are the reason that part of the map is covered in craters.
We're the reason that this ring still exists as a livable place, buddy.
Yeah, bitch.
Oh man, they showed you.
They did.
Yeah, got him. You're welcome.
I accept thank yous in the form of $20 bills.
I worship no gods, just a 3-armed man of metal.
Named Damn It. So yeah, for those of you familiar with it, the name Harmony definitely stands out. Passenger in particular, like the royal families and nobility, were in a panic when the news came, just because the thought of a second Grey Waste forming would be terrible both humanitarian-wise and economically.
Yep.
And is largely the reason why the continent of Crowania is considered cursed.
So what are we thinking? Put this on a secondary priority to our travels? Seems like we're all at least curious.
Yeah, I think so.
I think that ignoring a mystery would be foolish. We should seek this out to its end. And then decide what to do with it once we have it in hand.
Works for me.
Yeah. Had no intention of this puzzle box being in any way influential. But then it's like, hey, this is a nice little side quest.
No, this is the campaign.
This is the main question, Steven. Get on board.
How to DM. Give players random shit. Make it up as you go.
And inside the puzzle box is a builder. The builders were actually just a very advanced colony of ants.
That's your god. Get your
If
god.
that doesn't end up happening, I'll be real sad. It's just gonna be a little figurine of Bob the Builder. It's gonna be like, what you want?
As soon as it opens, like, confetti comes out. A, like, desiccated piece of food is in there because it was intended to be opened right away, not take, like, 1600 years. It's like, happy birthday, Billy.
It's a piece of builder food, and it actually has come to life because it's had this long to just simmer.
It's an entire world in there.
Yeah,
like, it's got its own
effectively-
countries.
The perfectly
Crab meat
preserved
all over
Twinkie.
again, Nick.
The fucking Horton Hears a Who situation.
It's a perfectly preserved Twinkie, that's what it is.
What do you mean preserved? It's just a Twinkie.
It's the last
exactly.
one.
Twinkies need no preservation.
Alright.
Would like to know your location.
Here's not a joke theory that I'm actually terrified of.
Oh god,
What if there
tell
is
me.
a builder in there, but
I
the
was just
builder
gonna-
is the living rock, because technically the living rock builds things.
Then we shoot it with lasers until it dies.
It's a nanite cloud.
That has always been our policy when it comes to the living rock, Alex. What do you mean, what if we do? We shoot it with lasers until it dies.
Oh my god.
We
What if
literally
I'm giving Steven bad ideas.
Oh no, I've had these ideas for a long time.
Okay.
I'm just very glad that your paranoia about the living rock can continue on into a second campaign.
I mean, yeah, that's a pretty
It's
satisfying
always
thing.
there. Okay, it's never going to die.
Like, every world they visited after the first one that had the living rock, which also was just a throwaway gag I made once that ended up becoming way bigger than it should have been. They're like, is any living rock on there? Is any living rock on there?
To being covered in sentient rock.
Oh, please. It would be slow.
The bug people, it's not happening to me.
It wouldn't. You don't have an exoskeleton the living rock can control.
Oh, that
Yeah,
makes
yeah,
Oh
you
my-
idiot.
It would just eat you normally.
You fool. Afraid for nothing.
Suit of armor suddenly looks a lot more sus.
Oh, man.
Don't let rocks near Stan.
He did mention Doomsday Device, so...
That'd be
Any-
terrifying.
Yeah. Anything else from you about this puzzle box? This was a very informative lore dump. Good job, everybody.
Steven, I do want to test something, and I'm going to say that to everybody. I want to test something.
And he chucks it out into the abyss.
Just whips it off the ship.
Damn it.
Does this question seem to be coming from a man with the look in his eyes of someone about to whip something?
No. So yeah, this is something I haven't commented on, of course, but the reason I have the powers that I have over darkness is because of the site that I was in. That is literally the origin of my darkness key magic. So I'm wondering what will happen if I cast darkness on the puzzle box.
Are you able to adjust the size of the darkness sphere?
I don't believe so.
Mainly, I just want to figure out how much of a panic the crew would be in.
Ooh, yeah, 15-foot radius sphere.
That's probably not a good thing to do while we're, in flight.
Yo, let's start some panic.
Stan, to be fair, you would know you are about as far away from being able to crash into anything as physically possible.
What if we went to the very back of the ship? So we're not blocking vision.
You would still probably catch the helmsman in the sphere.
Okay, far right-hand side of the ship.
Are you announcing, hey, just testing out some magic, or just popping it?
Harmless spell effect incoming.
Yep.
Please ignore.
Testing a new illusion countermeasure thing.
The quartermaster is up near the helm at this point, and he's just cocks an eyebrow and looks quizzically, like, what?
So here's my thought. I'm gonna cast darkness on like the handrail, and we can slowly bring the sphere into it. I just want to see what happens when it makes contact with the darkness.
All right. You cast the darkness spell. Immediately, like, the people on deck jump, and you hear some clanging from down below. Like, does it go through objects? Or no? Like, would it extend below deck?
It does say it spreads around corners.
Well, I'll say, since you're not near the opening down below deck, there's not really a corner it can extend around.
Yeah, it does say that completely covering the source of the darkness with an opaque object blocks the darkness, so
I'll say it's just here on top deck, and then extending down around the side of the ship.
yeah, that makes sense.
Hopefully nobody's got a porthole open. So you cast it, the sphere grows, you get a number of onlookers coming to see what you're doing.
Yeah, and the means by which I summon the darkness is by focusing my inner energy on just the pitch blackness of the outside of the ring.
All right. One of the sailors off to the sides casts magic missile at the darkness.
Amazing.
Love it.
Not actually, but carry on.
I mean, he doesn't miss, so. Yeah. I'm gonna look over at Marston and say, try putting it into the darkness, making a little contact, see if it changes anything.
I fiddle with it. I do. I kind of like step in, step out.
All right. As you step in and the puzzle box is enveloped in the inky blackness of the spell, immediately it locks up. Like, no slight movements, no being able to adjust it. Once completely in darkness, locks.
What was the section we were working on? Like, or based on our assumptions.
We were one of the next ones would be one of the observation facilities for the dark side of the ring, which led to Cameron's assertion that maybe magic or monk abilities born from the darkness of that side of the ring might be an approximation.
Okay.
Might at least mean something.
It's totally locked up now. I'm guessing that's either a sign we're on the wrong assumption, or maybe it just doesn't like fake darkness.
I'll drop the darkness spell.
As soon as, like, the spell's gone, but, like, even once you're back out in the light, it'll begin to have a little bit of give again.
It could be that the object is simply resistant to magic.
That would make sense. So it couldn't be tampered with, essentially.
Or the next step in the process is getting closer to the sun, or getting closer to the star.
That is also possible.
Right, if it's a multi-step process, maybe that's the one we end on. The actual next one is getting closer to the star itself.
Oh, you know what? I think you might be right. That goes with your story that you told. Because they tried to get closer before they gave up and went and exiled themselves to the outer ring.
Would you mind letting me take a crack at the orb for a second?
Have at it.
I'm going to take the orb in hand and I'm going to have everyone stand back.
Oh god. What are you doing?
We need to give a...
process. Alright, let's just start up a quick nuclear reactor here. Anybody?
It's a
Still
power
still one
source.
And I'm going to ignite myself and just start glowing radiantly.
Similar. As soon as it's enveloped in the magical effect of your light, it locks up.
Okay. I'm going to turn myself off before I hurt anybody. Nope. Just magic resistant.
Huh.
You guys can see I'm singed. My clothing is singed a little bit.
I mend it.
Thank you, passenger.
Yeah, being really close to the mending magic as it's happening, literally on your clothing, you can hear the faint ticking of a clock as it goes, and it's literally unwinding time in a very localized position.
At this point, you've got a number of onlookers between the darkness, the radiance, and you guys just sort of doing science of some sort.
If they ask, we'll tell them we're doing science of some sort.
Yeah. One of the sailors that you recognize from being one of the general sail workers comes over. What you got there? Some
Yeah,
sort of
just trying to
kickball.
Some sort of what?
Some sort of kickball.
Nah, it's some sort of puzzle. We're just fucking around with it, trying to figure out if it can be the trick to it, so to speak.
And you think the trick might be darkness and... Huh. You know, Jerry down below, his brother makes things like that for a living. Last I checked, he might have some insight.
This man knows too much. Kill him.
Yep, I grab him by the collar and throw him over. Thanks for the tip. I'll definitely look into that.
Oh, hey. He walks away looking over his shoulder once or twice.
Steven, does he know too much?
He knows that the puzzle box exists.
Made of living rock.
Yeah, I think we might be a bit too public about this at the moment. We should probably put a lid on it.
I agree.
Oh man, I'm so glad I made this puzzle box a thing.
I love and hate you.
When you have a main plot and your characters will not stop obsessing about this one other thing, and you have to make it the new focus of the
Hey, this puzzle box got you guys talking about yourselves.
It did. He
I'm not mad.
He completely tricked us into being open and honest with each other. You monster.
Yeah.
I was fully expecting to go like another 12 sessions before Marston said anything about himself, but hey, we even got stuff about Harmony and the Living Rock today, so I'm happy as a clam.
I will, since we're all talking about stuff and testing magic and whatnot.
Oh my god. Yes.
I want to show you all my new device that may help us the next time we get into a scrape. And I show a set of homing pigeons, like mechanical birds. And I'm setting one. Who wants to be the test subject? This will work. Who wants to try it out? No takers. Great.
I will. Sorry, Waffles is being very cute, but very, 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 very annoying right now. Anyway, I'll do the thing.
I mean, clearly Waffles wanted to be the test subject, so...
Really badly, my god. He is something else right now.
So I'm going to walk over to one side of the ship and just gonna have passengers stay where they're at.
Thank you.
And then I'm going to launch the two mechanical birds, one at passenger to catch, and one towards the main stem of the
the prow? The front?
no, like the mast, the main mast.
Oh.
You know, and then basically I'm showing them the use of vortex warp.
Oh god.
It's a homing pigeon. It goes from one to the other.
Oh, like this, and I vortex warp. But I do it. But this is something that you guys saw me do with what's his name when he fell down the mountainside.
Red.
Yeah, when Red fell down the mountain, and I basically transport myself right next to you, and I go, "You figured out a mechanical way to do it. I've just been doing it intuitively. That's incredible."
I give you guys a nice golf clap.
Oh
now,
man.
I can do it to enemies too,
Yeah.
but they might be able to. If you don't resist the effect, it will happen. If there is a chance to resist the effect.
could see plenty of situations with that coming handy.
Give a brotherly high five. Yeah.
I'm going to
With mechanical homing pigeons.
yeah.
That's so much.
What?
Genius.
It's not magic, Moose.
Yeah,
It's
you
not,
you
but it
fool.
is. It's not.
Oh man, that's good.
Moose and I have this ongoing argument.
I hate magic in all facets.
But he's gonna become an artificer.
Because it's not magic, it's science.
Exactly. So I'm gonna keep making up weird toys for all of my spells.
Oh man. Anything else you guys are doing today?
No, I feel like we all need a nap. Maybe a nightcap.
Igneous will just turn to Marshall and go, "Do they always just do like all this magic stuff?"
Yeah, I guess. I mean, if you had fanciful toys you could whip out with wiggling fingers, wouldn't you do it?
I don't need any fanciful toys. I just need my halberd.
My
Yeah.
man.
Sharp end and the pointy, and the squishy bits has always worked for me as well.
Yeah.
Says the guy with psychic daggers.
Hey, it's still sharp looking.
Barry always comes through for me.
Barry?
Barry.
Nice.
Bury the chopper.
It's my Halle Berry.
Oh my god.
Boo.
Negative inspiration.
Boo this man.
Negative inspiration.
I still have it. I've been waiting all session to bust that stupid one out.
Well, boy howdy, you busted that stupid one out.
Yeah, as the existing party members have all been like plot dumping on each other all over the place. New guys just like, I've got a sick pun.
Look, I was tempted to wait like another 3 sessions, but you know, it was too good. I couldn't wait.
My family is deeply ingrained with the nobility and the church. Well, my hometown was destroyed by living rock when I was a child. I come from a sect that's frowned upon by many people. I named my halberd Hallie.
No, the halberd's name is Barry.
Halle Berry.
Halberd. So
You
I
made
call
the
it
joke.
Halle Berry. It's a Hallie named Barry.
Ugh.
It fits too, because I'm a bear totem barbarian, okay? That's why it's named Barry.
So it's Hallie and you're Barry.
No, it's Barry. It's a Hallie named Barry.
But you're a bear totem, you're Barry.
We're both Barry.
Very me.
Alright, on to the next thing. Where's the combat? I gotta break this bitch out.
I don't know. It's already 3:40. I'm not sure how much
I
more we're
know.
putting in.
I know
Yeah.
it's not gonna happen. I'm just saying the words.
Roll for initiative.
Alright, let's
Oh
do it.
boy.
One of the homing pigeons explodes near your head. You take 80 points of damage.
I'm dead. Bye. Alright,
Yeah,
new character.
in response to that pun, Marston just grabs the halberd and hucks it off.
That's good. That's for the best.
Ignis jumps after it.
All right, roll a new character.
Oh man.
Actually, if you did that, there would be a fight.
Fight on site.
Oh
Look,
man.
DM can see it. One of my flaws is I'm really quick to anger. You fuck with my halberd, I will attack you.
Oh. Anyway, anybody else doing anything today?
I'm just kind of
Nope.
playing it cool and acting like we weren't being a bunch of weirdos on the deck.
Yeah, after a while, the sailors sort of go back to what they were doing, but you guys are still the most interesting thing that had happened today, and they had stopped at a literal hole in the ocean.
Yep. Yeah, well, that's like an impersonal hole in the ocean. We're like their co-workers.
The personable holes in the
hot
ocean.
Gossip.
The rest of the day passes uneventfully. You continue to rise higher above the ring wall, but at a certain point, you can feel that the endurance stops rising and continues along a path parallel to the ring surface. And at that point, the sailors settle in. There's still the lookouts, but the helmsman begins to just look bored, and his main purpose is keeping on track. At some point later in the night, Elgavar, you get called in for a shift.
Sure.
But otherwise, the time passes uneventfully. Days pass by. You can see the continent of Alcria begin to grow alongside the ship off to the starboard side. It's covered in dense forests. You can see lakes scattered here and there. A couple of cities off in the distance, looking like specks scattered amid the trees. Most of the lookouts focus their attention on that side, since it's the Elven nation and likely to be the most probable avenue by which marauders would come at you. But the days continue to pass, the glittering sea continuing to roll below you, maintaining the constant elevation above the ring surface. Sailors begin to, play games, tell stories on deck, just anything to really pass the time. And eventually, the first week passes. You're about halfway across the Alcrian continent size. You see Ossifex growing in the distance. It is, as always, very snowy, very mountainous, but not to the extent that Ulyss was. The coastline, you see various fjords and river valleys growing in the distance. Pine forests scattered with snow fields and rivers and lakes, and a couple of large towns and fortresses along the coast. Anything at this point in the journey that anybody wants to do? Or just continuing on to the Osphyxian continent?
Continue to be a
Continuing
nice
on.
passive
All right.
observer. Word.
About 5 more days pass, and Alcria is now behind you, and the ship begins to descend. You see below, set on the farthest tip of one of the fjords, is a large walled city. The captain announces that it is the next location for a delivery, and the Endurance will be sitting down there for a day. You can feel, as you descend, that the sort of chilly air that was, that far up in the, atmosphere of the ring, doesn't really warm up at all as you near the surface of the ring. around Osifix, it is still quite chilly. And finally, several hours pass, and the Endurance descends, and then makes port at one of the docks, set along one of the walls of the city that has been turned into an airship dockyard. The elevation is quite a ways up. It's set on the ridgeline of the fjord, and a couple 100 feet below you is the waves of the glittering sea as it crashes against the Osphixian coast. And you have arrived in the new continent. Passenger, you have arrived at your home continent, and it is familiarly chilly. And at this point, I will call session for the day. It is just about 3:50. And we'll pick up next time in the
new year.
City of Sea-Watch. Oh yeah, I suppose.
It'll be the first.
See you next year.
Assuming no one has anything going on. I doubt it since it's a Sunday.
In that case, I might not actually be able to, just because that's when my family is going to be celebrating Christmas.
Oh, okay.
I'll be out of town. I'll probably still be out of town until Monday.
Alright, so assumed no session?
Yes.
Cool.
Unless,
my plan was to wake up super hungover on the 1st, so...
So we will plan, we'll be taking, month off. I will reiterate the offer for a gift I made for you guys of if you make a Hero Forge character, I will pay for it so you can have the mini here on Tabletop Simulator.
How does that work? Do we does it let you download something and then we give that to you, or how?
You download a file.
Well, specifically for me paying for it, you can export the link for the character, I think.
Okay.
And then I'll be
wondering about if there was a way to do that.
And then I'll be able to access it and pay for it and download it.
All right.
Yes.
Well, yeah. This was a hell of a session.
Yeah.
Thanks, everyone, for being awesome.
I had fun. Good on you guys for all that lore dumping.
I'm going to say that the last part of my horoscope was just us divulging all of our backstories.
The shoplifting multiple times, that part?
No.
Oh.
Like unintentionally gleaning secrets from you guys.
Yeah, basically. That's or is that not what you meant?
Specifically, the last part of the horoscope was use your talents for good and teach those toothy suckers some synchronized water ballet moves.
Oh, okay, because that's a sane thing to tell anyone ever.
We did get rather toothy.
Well, and we were all working together.
I like it.
Yeah, that was about as, much team building and bonding as I've seen so far, so.
Although it's funny, the only other person who actually knows that I'm a changeling literally left the ship, so that's back to being a secret.
Yup.
Sidian is so proud of you guys. Currently so proud. He definitely knows this happened.
Yeah.
So, I don't remember if we asked this last time, but were you just not fond of the character, or what made you want to?
I was very fond of the character. The character didn't get to do any of the things that he wanted to do as a character. Either everything he tried or everything that he kind of would have done in downtime, just didn't work for him. Not that the smash and grab was a smart idea, but the fact that he couldn't make that work, the fact that he just never really had a chance to thieve. He's a thief. That's his that's what he grew up doing. He's a street thief. And the fact that he never really had time to make a score, he felt that he was losing money being here. Not that street thieving is super lucrative, but he needs to support the orphanage, and he was not making enough money doing this.
Yeah, the signing up for the ship was just a way to travel and get around and create
Yeah, it was a way to like
opportunities
relocate,
to
make
to
a
do
hit,
some
do
stealing,
that, but-
basically.
Yeah,
Okay.
sometimes there was never time to like make money on the side, so he was like, this isn't working for me.
And too many watchful eyes that were too close to you.
Yeah, and there were other things that just weren't. He wasn't able to progress on other pieces of backstory and motivation. He didn't feel like he was able to progress very well, so he was like, I need to do something else.
Yeah, I feel that. My original kind of like thoughts for Marston have gone through a couple of evolutions already, and I don't really think I'm planning to maintain the original trajectory I had for him. So
Yeah.
it just didn't fit with the kind of the party dynamics that we're developing. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
My
me as a
original
player, I had a
plans
lot
for
of fun
characters
playing him
never
out.
stay exactly the same.
Like, as a player, I had a lot of fun playing him because he was a goofball that was like a cheeky little goofball. But also, as a player, he just tried to do things that we had everything else, different members for. And I was like, he doesn't really do anything unique or special, or I almost thought, like, didn't even do anything helpful almost.
what the fuck is that image?
What?
Who's posted
Jesus.
something? I'm like, what is that from?
Oh.
It's from a show called Golden Kamui.
Oh, I've never watched that, but I've heard it's good.
I strongly recommend it. It is the best indigenous peoples cooking show ever.
Okay. I'll have to check that out. It's been on my like meaning to watch list for a while.
Like,
It's
I have
got a new
learned.
season this fall, didn't it?
Yep. Season 4 is currently. Season 4 is currently running. It is a very good show.
Sorry. Alex, Nick, Moose, you guys in for tomorrow?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. I got nothing going on.
Okay.
I have
Awesome.
like a super short week next week because I ended up with Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday off. So
I have a short week because we have Friday off, but then I have Friday through I have Friday all the way through the 1st off. So the 25th through the 31st, or 23rd through the 1st, I'm completely off.
Hmm.
I have Thursday off because yay, hospitals.
Yeah.
yay hospitals. Yeehaw.
Yep. Yeah, I have Thursday the 22nd off and then Tuesday the 27th off, and that's like it. Because Christmas is my holiday to work. The good part is I have the 30th, the 31st, 1st, and 2nd off, so that's fun.
Nice.
Yeah. Also, back to the point earlier, as a player, I was like, we have casters that do things, we have Dexy people that can thieve, so like, what does Obsidian do for the party really? And then I was like, we need a beef. I was like, we need beef.
I try
need a
not
s-
to. I try not to, go into casty bits. I mainly use my magical stuff to tank.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
but as we've
Wrong,
seen,
but-
the tanking is difficult when the class is more of like a sub-tank, like a...
Yeah.
The thing Warlocks bring to the table is Eldritch Blast.
Yeah, and I was finding that wasn't very fun. Man, what should I do next? Eldritch Blast. I don't get to use sneak attack with Eldritch Blast.
If A, then B, where B is Blast.
And A is
Warlocks work
Eldritch.
really well with-
Eldritch Blast.
Yeah, they work really well as like utility characters and not so well as, well, anything else. I mean, you
Yeah.
can build them to be a good support in any role, but they're not the main focus in any of those roles.
Yeah, I felt like it'd be, as a character, more useful doing a just like a martial class.
Somebody that has strength besides me.
Look,
Yeah.
if you hadn't already caught on to the fact that this may or may not, probably is not Obsidian anymore, the next time when he just like lifted a box with ease, you would have been like, oh my god, it's really not him. I was waiting for you to finally have Sid to finally have the revelation when a box was lifted with no effort.
I mean, it was kind of an extension with you doing the smithing. He was like, oh wow.
Yeah,
He doesn't have
just
noodle
was really
arms.
hoping that the revelation would come at a lifting point where it was like heavy lifting.
I basically wrote myself into having any successfully sufficient strength check, and I was like, okay, yeah, I see it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you guys have fun today?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was very lore heavy. I got to talk about the ring, you guys got to talk about your characters, everybody got to talk, and Alex made a pun about halberds.
Yeah, that was my favorite part.
Like, I was waiting for you to just kick into some, like, lore, but I figured it's probably still a little early for your character.
It's still a little early, and I'm gonna be real honest. The first time when I had like 3 months to think of a character, had a lot of time to form that backstory. Right now, haven't done that much with it. I'm gonna be real honest.
I mean, it's been about a month and a half since you were, discussing
Yeah, and
a new
we kinda
character.
got that stuff that I like rolled around, but it's not specific. There's I unfortunately have not specified heavy details yet.
Yeah, you tell him, Waffles.
Waffles also doing a lore dump about how he's never gotten any attention and doesn't receive chicken.
Yep. Yep.
Well, anyway, had fun today. Everybody have a pleasant holiday season. I will see you guys in the new year.
Yeah, have a good one.
Happy New Year, everybody. Happy
buddy.
Honda Days.
Bye.
Merry Chrysler.
All right.
I'll see you at a thon.
Stream. Thank you all for tuning in or watching the VOD. Had a lot of fun on this one. I got to talk a lot. They got to talk a lot. It all worked out. Probably a lot to listen to, though. So, if you ended up watching it, thank you for sticking it out. Got a lot of character information, so I'm gonna go ahead and make a note on the video in storage, so that way I know where to go to when I need to reference some character lore. But as mentioned, the next session won't be until next year during middle half of January, so probably around the 14th, I believe. Hopefully I'll be streaming a bit during the latter half of December, so we'll see.